Welcome back into Rounding Third Baseball, episode 324, interview with Vada Pinson III. I'm Nick. We have Harrison tonight. How are we doing tonight, Harrison?
Fantastic. Nick, how we doing?
Doing really good. This one is going to be absolutely incredible. I can't wait to dive into this, hear all the stories, and what he's doing to preserve his father's legacy. It's an incredible amount of work, and I respect what he's doing. It's absolutely incredible. So I can't wait to dive into it.
And I love shows like this because it gives me a reason to go back and do a bunch of research and dig around and obviously know who Vada Pinson is, aware of some of the stats, but spend some time like diving into his career.
Yeah.
Really, really impressive career and some cool stories I'm sure will come out of it. So this will be fun.
Yeah, can't wait. All right, we'll get into it. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors, Logitech, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can find these links on the tops of all of our socials. So if you do any shopping with these companies, please use our links as we get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. Just a great way to support the show. Also, Rounding Third merch on Etsy. You search Rounding Third Baseball, sweatshirts, t-shirts, tumblers, whole bunch of stuff on there. Just another great way to support us and to get our name out there. And finally, on Patreon, this is a community that can actually support creators like Harrison and myself and others. So check us out over there. We post exclusive content over there.
A lot of videos and good stuff over there. Go check it out.
Absolutely. All right. So we are going to invite in Vada Pinson III. How are you doing tonight?
I'm actually doing great. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming on. We have been waiting for this for a while. So glad to finally have you on. So like I said at the top, I absolutely respect what you are doing and bringing a light to your father's career and respect the amount of work you're putting into it. I mean, you are every day just throwing out different stats about your father. Where did that passion start for you to be like, hey, I need to make something happen here?
Well, when my father passed away back in 1995, Facebook wasn't even alive, or it probably might have been alive, but I wasn't a big social media person. You know what I mean? And I'm still not a big social media person. I only use it for my father, his baseball career. And I remember I was there when my father passed away, and I was sitting there, and I could just remember just sitting there with my head down, and a doctor came in, and doctor really never spoke to me, but he said, your father had a great career. I watched him growing up as a kid. And, at that point, I kind of said to myself, I remember that year when he passed away, he got some Hall of Fame votes, and it was for a very low number. And then I think that was the point to say, okay, I'm moving forward. I'm going to go ahead and, get on Facebook and, and do my best to represent his baseball career. Because, when you hear people speak about my father, and a lot of his fans that I have met on Facebook have told me a lot of things that I didn't even know about my father's career. And, just from meeting him and, and watching his passion for the game. And that's big for me, because now I think every morning Facebook even came to me and they stated, hey, we'll do this for you if you, you post much, because you get so many people to come to your page. And I embraced it. And, and every morning or every evening when I get off work, I'll post something, and I'm always going through, like the pictures that my mother took. And and a lot of people like to see that. And, you make a lot of people's days. Like I have guys that are like 70 years old saying, man, you brought back some great memories of my childhood. And, and that's really big for some people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because now I know once I get them on there, they look and they see the page, they say, oh my gosh, wow, I didn't know that about your father. But then again, I've changed a lot of people's minds also in regards to his Hall of Fame career. I remember there was one writer who said that he thought my father was kind of on the fence until he went on my page and reviewed all of the statistics. And he said he thinks my father belongs in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are kind of on the fence just because they look at the numbers, right? And let's be honest, we talked about it a little bit before the show. We don't we don't know what counts for the Hall of Fame anymore. Like we're all over the place, right? But you look at his compiled stats, yeah, they're not like off the charts crazy.
Yeah.
But you look at his individual seasons and how long he did it for. I said to you, like, he had a lot of seasons of 20 and 20. There's not many major leaguers that can say that they did a 2020, steady across most of their career, like your father did.
Yeah,
Pretty
my father, his early career was like he was on fire, and I still don't understand the beginning of his career because it's like, my dad was like in from 1959 to 1969. If you look at my father was third in total hits in the entire Major League Baseball. That's
Yeah.
almost a decade. I think that should actually get him in just off of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being a lot of people when they refer to my father they refer to him as a five-tool player.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I think that's a big thing for me also because hey, he could hit, he could run, and he had a strong arm. You wonder, it's just amazing to me, when I look at a lot of his old videos. We're watching him run. I know I see where I got my speed from back in the day. Because
I was never built for speed, so I
No.
I envy all of you guys. So love it.
but it's interesting, the 1960s era. But one of the things I think that plays a big part, just why like watching how they induct people into the Hall of Fame now is that my father was in a stacked era.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
That era is like when you look at all, I remember when I looked at the the posting of my father's his hit total from 1959 to 96 to 1969, he was third. But then you go down that list is like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a stat I dug up. It said for all the players that played in the third quarter of the 20th century, 1950 to 1975, he was seventh in the hits for all the players, and he's the only one in the top 10 not in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
That's
That's
crazy.
scary. It's a scary feeling,
Yeah.
I and one of the biggest things for me is like now being 62 years old and getting an old man. I I I really wonder, in regards next year will tell the tale in regards to, because I saw the list and that list is like, wow, it's a good list. It's a good list. Who are they going to pick from that? Who's going to get that phone call? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and and I'm just worried that hopefully in my lifetime I would be able to see where they would, even the Cincinnati Reds would make an effort to get a push behind my father and at least retire his number. You know what I mean? They have
Yeah.
Dave Concepcion retired, but he hasn't gotten to the Hall of Fame yet, and I think he's worthy of it. Also, great shortstop. I just wish that somebody would get behind my dad because I'm behind him 100%, and
Yeah.
I feel like he's worthy right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the stats are wild. I mean, I saw another one in his first 5 full seasons. He had more hits in his first 5 seasons than players like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays.
Exactly.
An absolute hitting machine early in his career, stole bases, 4 seasons of 100 runs and 100 RBIs. Like all these stats just roll off, and the grand total, those are really solid numbers. Then you break some of these things down, and these are when you talk about the peak, these guys in their peak. That was 10 years of elite baseball that usually gets guys in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm in an, I wonder, because a lot of people ask me, why isn't your father in the Hall of Fame? Did he do something else? And I just say, my father was like, a lot of people who have met my father, he comes off as shy at first. One of the things came up to, but once you get to know him, my dad is a big clown. You know what I mean? He used to do some things that, around the house that I was like, oh my gosh, it's pretty funny because even when he first started out, they thought my dad was Dominican or what was Puerto Rican. They didn't think because they were scared to talk to him at first. And it's kind of funny that, he said, no, I'm just quiet. You know what I mean? My dad was a straight professional when it came to baseball. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I didn't even realize it as a kid until one day I went to the games, one of his games when my dad was playing with the Indians. And when my dad would come running in, I would always be, Dad, 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 just recognize me. And I remember that after the game, I said, Dad, why don't you ever say anything to me when you're running into because I'm thinking about the game. And I was like, wow, okay, you just think about the game. You don't want to say hello to your son. And he says, no, because they were taught to play the game a certain way.
Right.
And if you see how the players play, but when my dad started out, one of the things you have to realize is about my dad's the time when he played baseball. Being an African American when he first came up was a very difficult thing for him. My mother would always say that, after some of the games, he would come home and, he wouldn't be upset, but, you could tell when my dad just didn't want to be bothered. He would be, he wanted to play the game the right way. And with Frank Robinson being there, I feel like early in my dad's career, those two became great friends, but then again, they had their I guess scuffles with the Cincinnati Reds management. And I think one of the big ones was where they stated that my dad and Frank had formed a Negro clique in regards to, I guess, in the clubhouse. But me knowing Frank and me knowing my dad, they just wanted to play the game of baseball. And whenever you saw them, my dad wore his baseball uniform like he wore a suit. He's the only I think he might be the only major leaguer that used to shine his baseball shoes. And it's funny because when my mom had passed on and we were cleaning out her home, I found one of my dad's old cleats. And remember those old cleats with those bottoms on the bottom? And I remember I pulled the shoe out and I looked at it and I said, I went and got a shoe brush and I shined it up and you could still see the shine on his shoe. And that was a shoe that was worn back in the 50s or 60s. And I was like, wow, my dad used to split shine his shoes, I think, and it's just amazing, all the stories, from the time frame that they did. They went through a lot of different things. Because I remember there's one story where one of the fans said he was a kid, and while he was in the fans at Crosley Field, that some of the guys came up and they were throwing potatoes at my father and calling my father that magical word. You know what I mean? And I can kind of see, baseball is I look at baseball totally different now than because I know a lot of the history of baseball, Major League Baseball at this point. I still love the game and I wish I could have played. But back during that time frame, I have a picture of my father drinking out of a color-only water fountain. And I just actually got the original photo back. I was going to post it. I think I'm going to probably do it tonight, but I got the original photo. And it's just interesting to see how when they played the game, and they came up, a lot of the players, they had like sponsors. And in Oakland, California, McClymonds High School, they had a really good coach by the name of George Poles. And he was my dad's mentor. And I remember that when my dad's speaking on where, when you play the game of baseball and being an African American, you have to walk a fine line. You know what I mean? Because you have to think about it, even when Jackie Robinson came up. Jackie Robinson was chosen because of the type of personality he had. They had a lot of other guys that were better possibly than Jackie, but Jackie knew how to keep all that, just being a professional on the field. You know what I mean? And then my dad coming up during that, right after that time frame, and even Frank, I've heard some stories where being in Cincinnati, I know my mom, I always laughed at my mom and I was talking. I said, well, hey, I might be moving back to Cincinnati, Ohio. And she said, why do you want to go back to Cincinnati, Ohio? Because my dad wanted to move there, live there. And I'm saying, I don't know I'm going back to Cincinnati, Ohio because she was afraid of the racism thing.
Yeah.
But then when I went back in 2019 for my dad's bobblehead, man, the fans in Cincinnati, the Reds are playing good right now. I would love to be there. That's a great baseball atmosphere right now.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I have really enjoyed about following your page is the amount of Reds fans and baseball fans. I think you have captured baseball fans in all, fans of all organizations.
Yeah.
And the support of you, the support of your dad, I think it's overwhelming. And it's really cool to see like a baseball following actually get behind and support something good. And this, what you're doing is absolutely incredible. And I love that you're getting the support for it.
And you know what's crazy is that, on my page I can see where everybody's coming from, and it's funny because I'm a Yankees fan kind of still too, because I used to like the clean shaven faces, but now everybody's not wearing a clean shaven face anymore. Because I was in the military, I said, "Oh, I want to be clean like the Yankees." But my dad has more fans in New York than he has in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's crazy. Because a lot of the fans that are older say, "Yeah, we used to go." And I wouldn't root for the Reds, but I root for your dad because he was a special kind of a player. So that was special to me.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. I love the fact that you've brought up that, like, your dad and guys in that era didn't have to, only worry about baseball, as they had to kind of worry about the off the field stuff too, but they had to maintain that lane of professionalism, and that takes a lot more out of somebody than what players necessarily have to deal with today, right? Yeah, you still have off the field stuff you have to deal with today, but not in the same scope. And to me, that adds value to a Hall of Fame case. Like, everybody knows what those guys had to deal with in that era, and they still went out and put up Hall of Fame caliber careers. Is borderline nuts. I mean, it really is that they were able to just absolutely kind of put that aside with God knows what was being yelled at them, and still be able to keep their head down and play the high caliber of baseball that they were. It's a testament.
One other quick note is that when they played in the early 50s and the early 60s, one of the things that was big, that the white players and the black players couldn't stay in the same hotels. A lot of the black players ended up staying with black families in the areas where and that was really big too. And my mom would always be like, worried about my dad. She says, well, why can't you? I remember hearing my mom say, "Why can't you guys all just stay in the same place?" And back in 1961, a quick story, when they won the pennant, when they knew they were going to be in the World Series to play the Yankees, all the guys, the teammates, the guys, once they got together and they wanted to go celebrate in 1961. And they actually they went to a bar, I guess, in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I remember my dad came back early, and she said, "Well, what happened?" My mom thought my dad was going to go hang out with the fellas, And they said that they wouldn't let the African Americans in the bar, even though it was Vada Pinson, Frank Robinson, and Leo Cardinals and all those guys. It's a shame it happened. It happened, but I don't know. One of the things I always thought about it, I was like, and then I look at that series, I was like, wow, they didn't play. I don't feel like they played up to their part, but the Yankees at that time, they were a very powerful team. You're looking at Mickey Mantle, and who else? And I was like, wow, that is a lot of power.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, today's ball players would fold up like a pretzel if they had to endure some of the stuff that people of your father's era, for sure.
The game is so different. I mean, these guys are flying charter flights, or they're arguing over what suites they get on the road. Like, they've got their catered meals and their diet plans all set. And these guys back in the day were trying to figure a lot of it out on the fly and couldn't even stay with the team. It's amazing how much baseball has changed, and how the guys of today really they have a degree of luxury that white or black players never had.
Yeah.
When you go back in history, it was so much harder.
One of the things I think about, one of the articles I actually placed on my page was where my dad, he got traded, and when he hurt his leg, and they show a picture of him going in the home plate, like, and he looked like a missile going in, but he had broken his leg, and he was still playing. And I was like, wow. I remember one time I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, when you, because I asked him about the picture when I was growing up, I said, that picture of you flying into home plate, and you got your those cleats out, he said, him and Frank used to wear double socks, right? But my dad said Frank Robinson used to wear double socks because his ankles looked like little chicken legs. So, oh yeah, to make his legs look bigger, and it was kind of funny. But I said that he said a lot of guys during that time frame, because those spikes, if they get into your ankles and everything, they
Oh,
could
yeah.
ruin your career. And if you look at those things, they look like little blades to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, my dad said those cleats used to make him run faster, and I was like, yeah, because when you dig in, and if you saw my dad's thighs were really always big, and he could really run. You know what I mean? That was a big thing for him. He said that he could, when he was coming around first base, he could feel his spikes digging into the ground, and get to second base in a hurry. I was like, wow! And I've actually seen that on my page, with one of the videos. So it's pretty interesting to see.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
read somewhere they had timed at one point from home to first base. He was like 3.3 seconds. Is that
That is correct. That is correct. Yes.
that is
He was
wildly fast.
But then again, you go on my page, and if you get the chance to look at, I post it every so often where my dad is. He hits to the second baseman, but then the second baseman couldn't even get him. I was like, "What? You hit the ball to second baseman, and my dad still beat it out?" But then again, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of the guy. He's actually in the Hall of Fame, and it's on my page where my dad hits it to the third base. He lays down a bunt. My dad lays down a bunt, but by the time the third baseman throws the ball, all you see is the back of my father's numbers. And
It's crazy.
I was actually said I had never seen that before. And I remember I probably watched it like probably 1,000 or more times, just saying how wow he could really move. I think my father was very exciting to watch during that time frame. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
my dad was fast. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I idolize that. It takes me 3.3 seconds to get out of the batter's box, let alone down the line. So that's incredible.
Yeah,
man.
I'm just getting momentum built at that point, and he's already there, rounding it.
Yeah.
So
Halfway up
um,
right field at that point.
wild. I found
Yeah.
this really cool quote, Veda, kind of in my research. It was Sparky Anderson, who, of course, is a baseball legend. And the quote was, Veda never got the recognition. He never got any recognition at all. But not one time did I ever hear Veda badmouth anybody about it. Never said a bad word. And he was the nicest man I ever met. In all of the work you've done, what do you find the most rewarding in what you hear from people? Is it the stories? Is it what they thought of him? Is it the impact he had? Like, what do you find the most rewarding about what the fans have to say?
Well, you know what? A lot of my dad's fans, you're like, I have like, I think I have a certain number of people that are on my dad's. I like they're my dad's number one fans, and I remember these guys. You could tell they genuinely love my father for the game that he played, and they're really passionate about my father's getting in the Hall of Fame, because if that day ever happens, we're all going to get together and we're going to have a beer or what have you. But they're really passionate. And they said, your dad, a lot of guys, they get upset, and you can just hear the passion in their voices. And, I remember I've met one of my father's fans, and when during the bobblehead ceremony, and I have to admit, it made me kind of miss the eye because I forgot the jersey, right? My jersey for my dad. And he actually brought me his jersey and gave me his jersey to wear during the bobblehead ceremony. And I hugged him, and I was like,
That's cool.
and you could just tell that, just talking with them in regards to my father's career, my dad's fans, they really love him. And even I'm kind of getting misty eyed now because when I think about it, you know, um, I think one of the things was one day I went to go visit my father where he's buried at in Richmond, California, and there was somebody there, and I noticed that I was like, well, I know where my dad's spot is, like exactly, and I was like, well, what is the guy
Right.
doing with my dad's burial site? And I got out and I said hi, and then, the guy said, hey, you're Beta's son. And I said, yeah. And one of the things he stated to me was that, your father, when your father passed away, he got married. And on the day that my dad passed away, he got married, and he said he was just coming up there to pay his respects to my father. And and he actually started crying and said, your father, I was a big fan of your father's. I met him on several occasions, and you know That was big. That was really big for me. I know that, we kind of stayed up there. We stayed up there and we chatted for a while. And I had one of my dad's gloves in my the back of my trunk, and I gave it to him.
Oh, it's
Because
awesome.
I just wanted to give up. I feel like I gave him a piece of my father. Because these
Mhm.
guys are really passionate, and some of the guys that I have on my page are. When I think about them, I post for them. I
Yeah.
don't do it for myself anymore. I do it for a lot of the players because when I post it, they'll go and they'll post it on their pages, and then they speak very highly of my dad. And a lot of them have met him, and that's a big thing because then my dad was once you get to know him. He's shy at first. He's like I was when I was younger. I was shy at first, but once you get to know me, I'm a clown. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I remember just one quick story of being at home with my dad. And my dad, one of the things my dad used to like to do is like my dad wasn't a flashy baseball player. You know how like you hear baseball players going out and having a good time. My dad used to like to just come home and relax. And I remember one time we were sitting down in the rumpus room and we were watching this movie. I don't know if you guys remember the movie called The Night of the Living Dead, the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, and my sister's like, "Oh, watch this up. This is doggone scary." So then my mom goes upstairs, and then it's just me and my dad. And me and my dad are like sitting by each other. And then my mom calls my dad up or something, and we had this big plate, this big window that we would shuttle the curtain across at nighttime, but we didn't do it that night. And I'm sitting there, and man, that movie was probably one of the scariest movies. My dad was like, my dad had actually he walked around the house. He actually went outside, walked around the house, and he came and put his face up against the mirror, and I mean, it scared the daylights out of me. And I remember
That's
I ran
awesome.
upstairs, and my mom was like, "What the? Leave your son alone." And I remember that's one of the funniest things. And I remember that my mom let me sleep with him. He said, "Why did you go sleep with him? Why do you want to?" Because you scared the daylights out of him, And that's one of the big things that my dad said. And I remember my dad apologizing, saying, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm just wanting to be a clown, And
Yeah.
he was a big joker at times. That's how I remember him as a kid. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
being around all other ball players, when he's around, he's kind of like this real serious person. You know what I mean? Always ready to play baseball.
That's incredible. Yeah, baseball history dork says on your page you've either got people who already wish your dad was in the Hall of Fame and you're making them see even more reasons why, or you're bringing his Hall of Fame case to a new set of fans. Either way, it's a great thing. So, yeah, like I said, I can't say enough how much support you've gotten from the baseball community. It's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get into like the Hall of Fame aspects of it and where your kind of like issues are with it. Because I mean, Harrison and I have been on this show numerous times talking about like, okay, I get why this guy is in. I
Mm.
don't get why this guy is in. And then why is this guy out? So like, where are you kind of on the Hall of Fame spectrum for lack of a better word?
Well, at first, the first thing I did was, I try and I don't like to do this because I feel like, when you compare players against each other, for players that have already gotten there, I don't really like to do that. But I've actually been doing that. Like whenever I hear who's getting into Hall of Fame, I'll go and post their numbers up against my dad's. And I think that, if my father had been more of a, and I hate to say this because my dad even spoke on this, my dad hit a grand slam, I think in his second or third at bat. And he thought he was going to be I think he should have took the route that Pete Rose took. Pete Rose said, I'm not going to be a power hitter. I'm gonna get base hits. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but I think that my father did that, but if his power numbers were stronger, like home runs, I don't think there would be an issue.
Right.
I think that if he hit more home runs, because I when you look at a lot of the players, like Jim Rice, I'm going to give you some of his numbers real fast here. So, where's Jim's information? I had Jim's information in front of me where, okay, so hits. My father had 2,757 hits. Jim Rice had 2,452. My dad's batting average was 286. Jim Rice's was 298. My dad had 256 home runs. Jim Rice had 382. And then when you go to the stolen base category, my dad had 305 hits. I mean, stolen bases, excuse me. And Jim Rice had 58 stolen bases. Those numbers are so comparable that I'm like, what are they looking at in regards to him getting into the Hall of Fame? Those numbers are so close. And then, I even did, and these are guys that I watched growing up, you know what I mean? And here's another one. This is the one that I like. This is the one I compare the most because, and this is just in regards to how my father's position when he was playing, he was in they should have had batting lead off where, okay, the great Lou Brock had 3,023 hits. My dad had 2,757. Lou Brock's lifetime batting average was 293. My dad's was 286. Home runs, my dad had him beaten out by 256 to 149. And stolen base, now this is the part that that gets me. When you look at these guys who were speedsters during that time frame, they just took over. My dad had 305 stolen bases and Lou Brock had 938.
Yeah, he had a ton.
He had a ton.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I have a picture of my dad and him walking into spring training, and I remember my dad saying, he said, "Man, they had you in the wrong position. You should be playing. If you were a leadoff position, you would be up there with me." But it's still a lot of stolen bases. So I really wish my dad had more power numbers. Because if he had more power numbers with home runs, I think he would be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
This point. Yeah, I love that Pirates example because I was actually reading that last night. He hit that game-winning grand slam home run, and then they had quoted him after the game that it was the worst thing happened. He was hitting that homer against Pittsburgh, or quoted him that season. I mean, because it won the game, didn't do me any good. I started thinking of myself as a slugger, and he blamed that on a slump that he went into. Then after that, and
they sent him back down
kind of recalibrate. Yeah, had to recalibrate how he hits.
Yeah. One of the things I think my dad did too was when he came up. My dad was really, really thin. You know what I mean? And he was a really thin, but he was a, was a solid kid. But then again, I think that when, if you look at him later on, you could tell he started putting on a little bit of muscle, and that might have thrown him off a little bit too towards the end of his career. But my dad was always a fit shape because I looked at a picture of him when he was with when he was coaching with the Mariners. One of the things I was like, dang, he looked like he could still play. He was fit, and I was like, wow. I think the Milwaukee Brewers broke him. Say that, because that was his last team, and I was like, I think that when he got cut with playing with the Milwaukee Brewers, I think that he said, I'm done. I'm gonna try and get into coaching, hopefully get into a managerial position, but that portion never happened. But he was the longtime coach.
Yeah, we've actually talked about how, the guys back there, the players back there were just country strong. Like they were just naturally gifted. They didn't lift weights. They didn't do all these crazy off-season regimens. They were just, they were freaks. They were just freaks of nature that didn't have to go above and beyond to make themselves stronger. They were just naturally that strong.
Did you see the picture? Did you see a picture of my dad when he's holding me with Hank Aaron? Hank Aaron is like, God, dude looks like a tree up against my dad.
Yeah.
And I know my face was like this as a baby, and I was like, dang, he just looks so massive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is wild how it's the different generations.
Yeah, and to go back to that though, Vada, what is it like growing up with a father in Major League Baseball and being around guys like that? I mean, I know when you're little, you don't really truly understand what's going on, but as you get older, like, what is it like to realize what your dad does for work and who he spends his time with?
Yeah, right.
Well, one of the things that's funny is that when I was going to Catholic school, and I remember when I first started going to Catholic school, I really didn't even pay attention. It didn't really even hit me until I started playing, you know, and and people were, I didn't even notice people were like whispering around me saying, "Hey, Veda's dad's coming to the game. Veda's dad's coming to the game," and 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 I guess I didn't even realize it as a child. You know what I mean? It's funny because when my dad used to come around, I know my dad came to one of my games, right? And what was really funny, I got really ticked off at my dad during one of these games because it was funny where they asked him to call balls and strikes to up. And I get up to the plate. This guy throws a ball at my head, and my dad calls it a strike. My dad strikes me out on 3 pitches. And I remember I got mad. I was upset. I was ready to storm them out on my and it was funny, but I know why he did it now. You know what I mean? He just, and when I look back at it and went to school, everybody would always be talking like, hey, your dad is a great baseball player as a kid. And I said, yeah, well, he's my dad.
Right.
I was just like shrug it off, and just kept going. It was funny. I didn't realize how lucky I was as a child. I remember my first time going down to the Cleveland Indians dugout, right? Not the dugout, but the clubhouse. And wow, going into that clubhouse and meeting, oh my gosh, Sam McDowell was one of the first guys I met, and this guy, I actually was scared of him because he used to have this look on his face that would just scare me. And just going down there, everybody, you were so lucky you got to go down. I didn't think of it like that. You know what I mean? I just thought of, hey, I get to go and my dad would always say, sit on the stool. But then there was one time when my dad was with the Angels. This is a funny story. Like, when you're down in the dugout and you're down in the dugout and you're down in the clubhouse, they have like all these snacks for the baseball players. They have like, I don't know if you guys remember bazooka bubblegum, right?
Oh yeah.
And my bazooka bubblegum story is really funny because my sisters just always tell me, because my sisters were at the game that day, and he said, if you go down there, you get all the bazooka bubblegum you can get. And so I go in, and I'm just, the guys are all talking, they're all getting dressed and everything, and I start putting all the bazooka bubblegum all in my my pants. I put it in my socks, and I started doing all this stuff. And then Frank comes up to me, and because Frank is actually with the Angels with my dad too. And Vada, somebody's got all the bubble gum again. And I just kind of looked at him, and I was like, I know. He said, and my dad they used to call me Manny and not Vada back, because we all had the same name. But then he said, you take all the gum? And I said, well, I was Valerie and Renee and Kimberly. My sisters all wanted some, so I was trying to bring them some. And he saw my pants bulging out. Frank picks me up, and he starts shaking. And that's what he said. And I just remember my dad saying, don't drop my son on his head, Frank, please. And, that was so funny because I remember that to the day.
Sure.
And one other quick one, I got into a fight with Famous Amos Otis. I don't know if you guys know who Amos Otis is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When my dad was with the Royals, it was funny. He came, he used to always, I don't know, he used to pick on me a lot, right? Where I just come down and say, he said, I'm faster than your dad now, right? I said, you're not faster than my dad, dude. My dad is faster than you. He said, no, that was back in the 1960s. We're talking, we're in the 70s now. And he said, and I said, no, you're not. And I said, and I actually took a swing at it, and he got me into like a headlock, and my dad's coming up. He said, okay, what did my son do? He took a swing at me, man. I had to go off on him, and he wasn't squeezing hard, he was just treating me like a kid. And that was just funny. And, just remembering those days, it was so much fun.
So cool.
Having an opportunity to Famous Amos. I was like, wow. And now when I look at, when you hear players passing, he hasn't actually passed yet. And I know even Tommy Harper's still alive. You know what I mean? I saw Tommy 5 years ago when he's up at my mom's house, and they both went to, he went to Encino High School. So, there was a lot of talent in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about this podcast that since we've started and we've had former players on and former people around baseball is like, growing up, we put these guys on pedestals, right? Because I mean, it's like, man, I want to be them someday. Like, I really want to get there. But like, we sit down with them and they're just like another dude,
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've taken away from this is they love talking about the game, about life in general. So it's really cool to like hear you like, being a part of that too. And it's just, that's been the real, I wouldn't want to say shock for me, but it just kind of, they're like, okay, like they're just regular guys. They're just really freaking good at baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things is like, I remember when I used to like to go down in the locker room because it was like when I was playing as a kid, everybody's talking baseball. You know what I mean? And I know when my father got older, the Cleveland Indians, they had a lot of the younger players coming up to him. Like, I think Greg Nettles was playing third base for the Indians at that time. And they would come up, and they ask for pointers, you know what I mean? And then like Chuck Hinton and Ted Eulander. I remember a lot of the players, even I remember even when my dad went with the Angels, I was like, man, I was like, Nolan Ryan was like huge to me. I was like, God, these guys are huge, I'm like, and then I always remember, them, all the guys just being nice, and it's like being down talking to young boys, you know what I mean? Everybody's saying, hey, well, how many hits you gonna get this day? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do this? And and they're just regular guys, they just play baseball. Wow, to the moon and back,
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been really fun. It's been really fun to get some of the behind the scenes and find out the fact that like, when we were coming up and we were playing, like they're not really doing anything different than we were doing. They're doing the same. They're talking baseball, the same silly, goofy pranks. Acting like kids playing a game.
Yep. Lucky to be able to do it for the rest of their lives. Because one of the things now about Major League Baseball that that the guys are like, I have always wondered. Like, I remember my dad's signing bonus was like $4,000 back when he played. And now you look at the signing bonuses, and I remember, one of the people that was big on my dad's list was Curt Flood. And Curt Flood was, I think, probably the last major leaguer actually to speak to my dad before my dad passed, because he was on my dad's voicemail. And I didn't realize what a good friend my dad was with Curt Flood, and they, I feel like, man, I wonder with my dad's batting average today, what he would have been. He would have been making a lot of money if he was playing in the game today. I would be like, wow, it would be interesting to see. It's one of the things that sticks up in my head. Like, wonder how much they would be like, because back in the day, when my dad was playing with the Reds, I remember the Reds didn't want to pay Frank Robinson anything. I remember my mom and dad talking about, him not sitting out, but not signing his contract for a while, because of contract disputes, and Frank was actually, and the majority of people think that know that Frank was actually the best player on the team. Most of the players back during that time frame, or if you weren't the star on the team or the top three guys on the team, you were going to have a second job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's big. A lot of people don't know that. Like, guys are coming from their second jobs to play Major League Baseball. That's interesting, because if you look at the pay that they paid the players back in those days, they didn't have like all those endorsements. My dad did have one endorsement when he was with the Indians, and he it was called a drink called Cherokee Red. And my dad, they had him singing on a record, the plastic thing. And my mom said, "Good Lord, Vada, keep your day job."
That's incredible, man. Yeah, I just a ton of support in the chat here for you, Vada, and your dad. Michael says, I'd messaged Vada on his Facebook often, agreeing that his father should be in the Hall. I was a kid, but saw him at Crosley Field with Frank Robinson. Man, what an outfield. The number of times my dad would exclaim, wow, with plays they made. And it says, keep on spreading the word, Vada. Keep informing the younger who never saw him play. And that's what I was looking forward to the most about tonight is hearing your stories and just like what type of player your dad was. Because I am younger, and we didn't get to appreciate him. And I always say that I was born in the wrong baseball generation, because I would have loved to have seen those 50, 60, 70 guys just go at it. But yeah, it's incredible what you're doing. So keep it up. So a lot of support here.
I definitely will. One of the things I always say to myself, on my post, a lot of people don't know that the Reds they could have had a super team. They could have had a Big Red Machine way before the Big Red Machine if they had kept Curt Flood. I was like, that was one of the things. That was one of my biggest mysteries because when he went to St. Louis, he was actually a great player there too. But then my dad didn't get old, but he had hurt his leg and everything. And I was like, that time frame, I picture that time frame as one of the best for baseball, because it was like a family base. You always knew who was going to be on the team. You know what I mean? And you had your 5 or 6 core players that you knew right off the bat. Okay, you got Johnny Bench, you got Vada Pinson, you got Pete Rose. That very early 1960s teams when those guys were all young kids. It's scary to think of what they could have had, and they just didn't keep it. And I was like, oh man, if the Reds meant, I should have been Reds man, because I would have kept Curt Flood, and stuck my dad in right field, put him in center, and Frank, and man, they would have been unbeatable,
Yeah. Not much grass to be had out there if those 3 are out there.
No, and Curt Flood had an interesting career because he started so young.
Yeah.
And I mean, then he didn't really hit his peak until he was 25, but at that point he'd been in the league for like 7 years. And was an incredible ball player, but man, he was young. These guys came up so young then.
Well, if you look on my page, there's a page I have a picture of Frank and Curt actually played on the same high school team at McClymonds. I have a picture of them as looking at them as kids. I was like, and you see them, I was like, wow. Can you imagine that one team in McClymonds? I don't know what happened because Curt actually left McClymonds, but to this day, the Red scouting team was like they were A+. They knew how to grab the best players from that era.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank Robinson was the guy that came up kind of latest, and he was 20. Curt Flood was 18 making his debut. Your dad was 19. Frank Robinson was 20. These guys were all so young and coming up right away and making an impact.
Those guys are all. When my time comes, it's like to see them all. I was like, when I look at those pictures and I go through all of them, it's like, wow, the amount of talent that the Reds had during that time frame, it was incredible. Because the Bay Area, I was looking like they have players like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jesse Gonder, and even Tommy Harper. All those guys they all, the Reds farm system like scooped them all up and had them all at one time, and they all became good friends after that fact, now they're all Tommy's still with us, and I know Leo Carter is still with us, but a lot of the older guys are gone, and I think that really hurts my dad's chances also, because I have something on my page where a guy had talked to Willie Mays, and he said that my father was the second best center fielder in the major leagues when he played. And that's like coming out of Willie Mays' mouth. That was big for me. You know what I mean? And I don't understand how the Hall of Fame voters don't see that or hear that.
Yeah.
We the Hall of Fame voters. We get into this a few times a year.
Yeah, we do not like how it is voted on. We feel that it should be former players, former executives, former coaches that are in the game and see these guys on a regular basis. The fact that, if I'm playing center field and I shrug off a reporter that happens to have a Hall of Fame vote can leave me off the ballot, like, it's broken. That should never, ever happen.
Yeah.
So we hate it. We hate the voting process right now.
It's the silly stuff too. Like, Ichiro Suzuki wasn't unanimous because one guy refused to vote for him. Like, why does one person get to decide that they just aren't going to vote for somebody when clearly they're deserving? Like, it's the personalities and the remembering that the guy was mean to me on some Tuesday night in Cleveland after a tough game.
Those
It
things stick
needs to be
around.
better.
Those things stick around because just to go into this, I really don't like to go into this, but with Earl Lawson, my dad, I don't know if you guys read where my dad got into a altercation with Earl Lawson. And I remember, my dad's personality, it was like to make my dad mad, you had to really go deep. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because I think I've only seen my father get upset probably twice in his lifetime, but not to the point to where, when he was with I guess speaking with Earl Lawson, where I actually have a picture of him where he's at the police station and Frank Robinson there is there, and I guess my dad's agent is there, and there's a real concerned look on both of their faces, and you know, I feel like that was one of the big reasons that my father is not in the Hall of Fame because Earl Lawson, they stated that all the charges were dropped and everything, and that they shook hands and they go. But I feel like that might be that stone that they're gonna keep on my father's hit for the remainder of his baseball career. You know,
Yeah.
um, nobody would really state that to me. I wish they would, because I know that somebody asked Johnny Bench, what would it take to get my dad and Dave Concepcion into the Hall of Fame. They stated politics. Like, what does that have to do with baseball? What does it have to do with their career? I was like, oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
And
That's the
you know,
one thing we can't stand about it as baseball fans looking in, like what are we even talking about? If the Hall of Fame is not to celebrate the best players that ever played the game and you're leaving them out,
yeah,
what are we even doing? Like why even have it at that point? Like
yeah,
like it's silly to us. We'll never understand it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's shocking, but I I hate to say this, but one of the things I dread hearing when the Hall of Fame when they announce it, everybody for the Hall of Fame, because it's like I know I don't need to look for it, and then I'll somebody will always text me or give me information in regard to it. And it's just a scary feeling, and I wish that hopefully if I could get my podcast up and running, bring I want to love to bring back, like the kids of the former superstars and players and get them on there. But then again, you know, I I just when I look at a lot of the different numbers, I wonder like what is keeping my father out of the Hall of Fame. If you talk to the fans loved him. The players loved him, and his coaches loved him. You heard Sparky Anderson's little quote about my dad, and I was like, so what is it? It's a big
Mhm.
what if? And hopefully that one day, I keep my phone on, where it's ready to ring. I got my phone on Facebook, so somebody can call me. I was like, healthy. Hey, say, hey, Beta, it's your father's time. That would be great to hear.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of people are waiting on it to happen, and hopefully it does one day.
Yeah. If the Hall of Fame calls you
Mhm,
and they say, "Hey, sell me your best case to get your father in the Hall."
mhm.
I don't know if you have this speech ready, but what are you telling the Hall of Fame?
Wow.
I know it's a loaded question. I'm sorry to just
Yeah,
kind of throw
it
that
is.
on you.
You know what? I would say my father was a 5-tool player, right? I was a 5-tool player. If you look at his numbers, he did everything well. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't have what I really want to say because that's one of the things that I need to get together to say, because if you look at, my father could hit, my father could run, he could throw, he could steal a base, he could lay down a bunt, he could hit a home run. How many players in today's game can do that? He was 3.3 seconds to 3.3 seconds to first base. You guys deemed him as the fastest man in baseball, but yet they had him in a spot where, he's going to lose stats, his recognition to just his his athletic ability. You know what I mean? Um, and it's scary. It's scary to think, that a lot of people don't see that. because a lot of times I'll go on Facebook and you'll hear a lot of people, they'll say Eric Davis should have been like the lifetime Red center fielder. A lot of people, until I go in there and put my father's name in that information, a lot of people don't see him there. But some players do see him as the center fielder for lifetime for the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds, and it's scary, you know.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because I was looking at it. Your father was almost like Eric Davis before Eric Davis. He was the guy that came up with the 5 tools, had made the impact, was going to be a guy that was going to change the organization, and the organization kind of like fell apart around him a little bit and shifted gears, but like he was that impact kind of middle of the pack guy that was going to alter their direction.
There's one player that I really think was, oh my gosh. Oh, the one player that I think that would have mirrored my father if he could, I feel like if he could really hit was Billy Hamilton. Billy Hamilton could get around the bases. I remember the first time I watched him and I was like, are you kidding me? His guy doesn't look like he's even touching the ground when he's running.
Dude can fly.
He floated.
Yeah. He's just and that's what a lot of people said about my dad. They said my dad floated, like he floated around the bases. And Billy Hamilton, even to this day, I'm wondering if he's. I don't think he's in the MLB right now. I have to look because I started following him, because the guy had the speed, and to watch him in the outfield, he was great. You know what I mean? So I think the only thing that hindered him from becoming a superstar was not being able, to hit that baseball, and that's the one big thing you have to have.
Yep. Yeah, that dude could straight out fly for sure.
Yeah. Last I knew, Billy Hamilton was in the either Mexican League or he hasn't been in MLB since like 2023, but I want to say he was in the Mexican League last year trying to make a comeback.
Wow. Well, I hope he gets back because I would definitely watch him. I love watching guys with speed on the bases,
Yeah,
he could fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Says we have a follower, Scott, says I was in junior college class with Kurt Flood's son, Scott. Funny thing was the instructor asked him any relation to Kurt Flood. He coolly responded, "That's my dad." So kind of like you, it's like, yeah, that's my dad. That's so funny.
Yeah, his son's actually he's on my Facebook page. It's funny how, say, yeah, just my dad, just my dad, until once you grow up and I was like, wow, I really got into just looking at my dad's career where, back in the day, now it's actually easier to pull a lot of things together in regards to because, we didn't have Google and
right. Yeah.
you go and look my dad up in those green encyclopedias. You see like a paragraph that's crunched into something. But now, I see that everything that I do on Facebook page that it's really turned out to be a great page where it shows a lot of his information on Google. So I really appreciate that from Google. It shows like a big timeline in anything and everything I post. So that's great. I'm just hoping that a lot more of the fans, because a lot of my father's fans have written to the Hall of Fame. Hopefully, one of those they'll catch his eye. Because I'm right now I've gotten down to where I try to write once a year, but I'm thinking I think next year, I think I'm going to try and start sending letters like probably, I don't know. It's a lot, but I was going to try and gun for 12 letters for that whole year. Hopefully, we can get something in and, say, hey, Vada, and we're going to be looking at we're going to review. If they would just call me or write me and tell me they're going to review my father's career and base it upon the players that are already in there, I would feel confident that he would get in.
Yeah, I would almost use your platform. I think you have a great platform. Like you said, the base you got, I would almost have your followers, if they're interested, send you the letters first and then send them all at once. Like,
wow, so
they can't ignore it. Right. It's almost like Miracle on 34th Street. And they're just bringing in all the letters to Santa. Right. Like make the like I know you're laughing, but like seriously, like just send them all in bulk.
That's a great idea. I never thought about that. That makes a lot of sense because some people have sent me their letters. So, Wow, that would be. You know what? Oh, wow! This weekend, that's what I'm going to try and jump on. I'm going to take a look at them,
Yeah,
grab all those letters, and put all the ones that I put in there too. So that would
yeah.
be perfect. That's a great idea, Nick. Thanks. I'm gonna run
Yeah,
with.
no problem. I'm gonna be writing one tonight. I mean, I'm all for it, man. I wish you
I
the
love
best of luck, and
it.
this is absolutely incredible what you're doing. And you don't I don't hear of this, right? I
Right.
mean, what you are doing is special, and I love that you're honoring your father like this, and rightfully so. You know, it's not like he was a mediocre player in that time.
Yeah.
Like he was a standout MLB player and should get the recognition for sure. But yeah, keep doing the work, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And for the listeners, I just want to share a few stats that I came across that made me kind of pause and think a little differently. So, in the decade of the 1960s, Vada Pinson ranked in the top 10 in games played, at bats, runs scored, hits, doubles, triples, stolen bases. He also hit 8 grand slams, which puts him in the top. And there's 2 players in baseball history with at least 2,700 hits, 450 doubles, 250 home runs, 100 triples, and 300 stolen bases. Those 2 players are Willie Mays and Vada Pinson. Like if you want to look at just a couple of stat lines that make you go, why does this guy belong in the Hall of Fame? I saw those and I went, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I was like, when I heard that stat, I posted it a couple of times, and it's like, wow, that's just crazy. Just my dad
Wild.
and Willie Mays.
Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, and he he checks every box. It's hits, doubles, home runs, triples, stolen bases, like everything that matters on the offensive side of the ball. He did.
5'2" player.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't an elite slugger, but he hit a fair share of home runs, and he did a lot of other things too. Like it wasn't like he was a one-trick pony. He did it all.
He could bunt. He could, beat out of man. If you juggle that baseball, you're gonna lose. Oh man, 3.3 seconds. You never know.
Well, and that alone, like that makes infielders play differently.
Yeah.
They rush. They because they know the speed. They can feel it. You've got that internal clock.
Yeah.
And you know that you're running out of time quickly, and you tend to overreact and rush.
Exactly.
It changes games.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, if you are in the Rounding Third Baseball audience and you do not follow Vada Pinson III, please do so right now. Give him all the support. And like I said, what he's doing is unique. It's incredible, and it's very much deserving. And the work he's doing to get his father the recognition he deserves. So please do that and support him. And like I said, I'll grab your address. I'll send you a letter. And I wish you all the luck in the world, man. This is incredible.
I just dropped the link to Vada's page in chat. So everybody go click on that, head over, like, follow, share, spread the word.
Yeah. So we will be in touch, Vada, because I want to keep this avenue open for you. I know that you are looking to start your own podcast with like sons of former players, which I think is such an incredible idea. And you have such a good platform for that and a base for that. So you've got 2 believers here, and I know our audience will be with you too. So we are all in on your journey, man, and we will definitely keep in touch. And anytime you want to pop on and give some updates, you are more than welcome.
Hey,
we'd love to have you.
If my dad gets in the Hall of Fame, I want to be the first one on your show, so we can
absolutely,
man. So yeah, we'll be in touch. Please send Vada all the letters of support, and or send them to the Hall of Fame directly, your choice. But let's get this done. Let's make it a movement. I love this.
Okay, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys. You have a great evening.
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Vada. Really appreciate it.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
See you. Man, it's so incredible.
Yeah, I mean, as I was getting into the research, I mean, obviously, like I know who Vada Pinson is. I know he had a great career. Like when you start to dive in a little bit and you start to pull it apart, you're like, wow, like he's a clear victim of 2 things. One, he played in an absolutely stacked era where he was as good as he was. There were still several guys that got all the attention. And I think the other part of it too is he passed away so young, that time's not kind, and he's not here anymore. He doesn't get attention anymore, and I think that he's definitely a victim of that, because you put his numbers in a different era, and it's not a conversation. Like, he's already
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. I mean, like I was reading through it too. Like I have all week, and then right before, I'm just like, I'm looking at the stats. It's like 2020, 2020, 2020,
It's
2020. And you're just like,
automatic.
yeah. And you're just like, my God, man. Like, how many guys can say they were 2020 for 10 years straight? They can't. Not a lot. I mean, there's a
No.
handful, but to play defense like he did too, like we didn't even really touch on that in the interview. Like, yeah, he could fly, but the dude could play some defense too.
Yeah, and he also would drive in 70, 80 runs on top of it. Like,
Yeah.
he did everything. Did not strike out a lot, walked a fair amount, but a guy that absolutely was, in that upper echelon during his time.
Yeah. Ed says I'd like to see him and Kurt Flood both going. Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah,
Kurt Flood
John.
was incredible, but his career was just too short. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, John Temple, that was cool. Yeah, I was blown away. Like, I mean, it's really cool. Like, I told him 3 or 4 times, like how awesome this is, that what he's doing. Like,
yeah,
you don't see this. You don't see somebody grab a career like he is and being like, hey, my father deserves recognition, and here's all the proof, and here's the 20,000 followers that I got that also support that. Like, he's got a massive petition pretty much on his, like, that's what his Facebook page pretty much is. Like, everybody that's following him is just saying, like, yeah, we agree with you, man. It's wild.
yeah, and that's one thing about baseball fans. Like, they know their stuff. They are very loyal to the players they followed, and they will absolutely get behind a movement like this. And he's building a lot of momentum.
Yeah,
An incredible amount.
It's impressive to watch, and like you said, you pulled up some of the stats that he has posted, and you're just like, how can that be ignored? How can it be ignored? It can't. But let's logistically now, he would have to be a veterans or contemporary era pick, correct?
Correct. Yeah, his only pathway now is through one of those committees.
And how do you go about getting on the ballot? Is that also writers, or how do you get chosen to be put on those ballots?
I believe those ballots are put together by the Hall of Fame, and the committees then choose from them. So I don't believe there's any writer involvement there. I believe they're assembled through those committees. They kind of list off people they want to talk about, then they vote, and whoever gets through gets through.
Yeah. I think it would be so incredible if somehow he could get 500, 600 letters and then just send it all at once. How can the Hall of Fame ignore that? If you're sending 500 letters about Vada Pinson all at once.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I laughed. I'm like, it's, somebody in the mailroom's gonna open up and go, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, what's going on?
We got a truck backing up full of boxes, and and they're all about Vada Pinson. Like, that would be amazing. That would be the ultimate, like, game set match move of, we're gonna drop off thousands of letters for you guys to read, and oh, by the way, make sure he gets on that next ballot, would you?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if you guys are interested, please, Vada's open to it. So definitely send a quick letter, just being like, hey, this guy deserves to be in. We want him in as baseball fans. And let's get this going. Cause I agree with him. Like, I said to him before, like, being as young as we are, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that era. We just didn't. Like, I mean, it is what it is. You can't help when you were born, right? You can't.
Yep.
That's why I get railed all the time. Oh, you don't know baseball because you don't know the 70s. Dude, I wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's eye. Heck, my dad wasn't even a twinkle in his dad's eye at that point. So it's like, how am I supposed to know the 70s? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't sit here and study it all the time, but I love when I get the opportunity to hear about baseball history firsthand from a guy that was telling us stories about getting bubblegum dumped out of his pocket by Frank Robinson. Like, that's incredible.
and throwing a punch at Amos Otis.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and that's why I've loved this show that we have built, and the stories that you guys share with us in the chat every day, every episode. It's incredible, and I just learn something new every day, and it's wild.
Yeah, and the one thing that makes it tough too is there's only so much coverage and photos and all that and videos of these guys you can even find.
Right.
You know, I can go on Google and search for Vada Pinson, and I find some stuff. I don't find a lot. You know, I can go on YouTube and I can find some old games, but again, like, you don't find a ton. You know, whereas now, like, I can go look at every single at bat Bobby Witt's had all season in about 9 seconds on my smartphone.
Right.
But you know, going back and seeing some of these guys play is hard, and I would love to get to a point where MLB assembles like this archive where I can just go back to be like, oh, let's go check out his 61 season and just like run through like highlight reels and all that. Like, I long for the day where they can compile some of this stuff, but it's there's so much history that's happened. There's so many good players that are just really, really hard for us to see now. And it's a shame.
Yeah, Scott. I mean, the game was different back then, right? Bigger ballparks, higher pitching mounds, all of it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was a different game, but I mean, just love firsthand to hear what he's doing, how he's doing it, the stories he shared with us. Absolutely incredible. So
yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
And a great guy, like very passionate about the cause.
Yeah. I'm like I said, he's got me hooked. I'm in. I am in fully. I mean, I already was before. Like, I was already watching what he was doing. But yeah, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Forrest or if it was Justin, either Dork or Geezer, that had kind of mentioned him in passing at one point. And then I started to kind of keep an eye on his stuff. And I'm like, wow, this guy, like, he makes a really compelling case.
Yeah.
You know, but again, before that, like, knew who Vada Pinson was, didn't really have an opinion either way. But as continuing to see his son make these points, it's like, wow, there's something to be had here.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Forrest, because he sent me a message and he's like, hey, like, Vada's looking to do some podcasts to get the words out, so send him a message. And I did, and bang, here he is. So
love it.
Thank you for that, Forrest. Absolutely love it. And Scott, this is another great point, especially in today's game. Not enough attention given to great defensive players. 1,000% with you.
Yep.
Yeah. John Carter, didn't Sal Goodman do this and send a bunch of letters to exonerate Huel and Better Call Sal? I'm in. So yeah. First World Series I remember watching, 1982, St. Louis versus Milwaukee. My 1980 and 1981 highlights were in Sports Illustrated. It's just, that's how much of a difference between what we have now and what they had back then. So just absolutely incredible. So thanks again, Vada. Like I said, anytime you want to come on and celebrate a milestone, celebrate a moment, you have open invite here. Keep doing the great work that you're doing. It's absolutely incredible. And thank you to everybody that's supporting him already. I mean, it's cool. And there's some very educated baseball fans on his page, and just listening to their stories in the comments section is worth the follow alone. So check that out, please.
Yeah. And maybe one day we'll get to pop some champagne on the show with him and celebrate his dad getting in.
Man, that would be sick. So glad to give him the platform for it, and I hope he has other avenues to get his name out there for sure.
Yep.
So
sure.
All right. I never know how to transition great interviews like that, and especially when we have such a heavy topic to talk about after. All right, so here we go. Just going to dive in. Alex Cora and the rest of the coaching staff fired after they blow out the Orioles. First, Brian Bayo gives up so many home runs that the Orioles ran out of fireworks, and then the Red Sox come back and they beat up on the Orioles, and then they fire them. So, I mean, what are your first reactions? What are their next steps and thoughts on Cora's tenure altogether? So let's just start with first reactions.
Thank you. This felt like it was 3 years too late. But thank you. I know for some reason, people around baseball think that he's a fantastic manager and all this stuff. I think he's an okay manager. I think he's great with the players. But he continues to mismanage the bullpen. He does weird things with the lineup. He's got a career winning percentage of 543, which makes him an 86 game a year, winner. There's nothing about what he's done in Boston other than manage a super team in 2018 to a World Series that makes me go, yeah, he was great. I think he was okay. I do think that Breslow has, as we said, made some mistakes. This roster is better than this. But every year we say like the Red Sox should be better, and then they end up at 500 because I don't know what it is, but they just can't get past it. So my first reaction was thank you. It's about time.
Yeah, same with me. It's just like, listen, we've never been high on Cora. Nope. And I'm in a group chat right now, and they're like, well, we just don't understand why they would do it at this time of the year. It's like, listen, Brandon Hyde got fired at this time of the year last year when the Orioles were off to a wretched start. They were just like, boom, see ya. We don't care what you did the past 2 years, dude. You're gone. See ya. Like, there's a lot more to the Red Sox. I get it. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get into it. But like you said, Alex Cora was handed the super team in 2018 coming off the suspension. None of what was on the field was a product of his coaching. None of it was his coaching. You had that random blip in 2021 where they somehow made the playoffs and had that run because Kike Hernandez was the hottest guy on the planet for about 3.5 weeks. But when you have led the majors in errors for the last 6 years, and you are known for being a utility defensive replacement in your career, and your infield hasn't gotten any better. In fact, you've probably gotten worse in your coaching tenure. What are you even doing? Did 2018 jade him because it was like, oh, hey, I was handed this super team. I expect you to hand me a super team for the next 10 years. It doesn't work that way, dude. You actually have to coach. Was he?
Yeah.
Was he good at handling the media? He was. I will give him that. He handled the Boston media very well. But when it comes to on the field management, coaching, I saw nothing from his tenure. But Ed, yes, he made great decisions in 18. That was it. It's easy to make great decisions when you have a team like you did in 18.
I mean, I'm pretty sure my son could have managed that team to a World Series. They were a friggin' wagon, and he plays lacrosse.
Right,
he's not a baseball player.
Yeah, I just now listen. What from the top down, the Red Sox are in shambles. The ownership has not been focused on the Red Sox for the last 10 to 15 years. Ever since really the last World Series, they're like, okay, Red Sox fans are fat and happy. This is our chance to buy an F1 team, buy the PGA Tour, buy Liverpool, and focus on them and use the Red Sox as an ATM.
Yeah, I think in fairness to the ownership group, I think they were all in until about 2020. And then I think they saw the opportunity to leverage this platform and expand into other areas. And that's when they bought the Penguins. That's when they bought Liverpool. Like they started to accumulate things, bought the F1 team. That all seemed to come along as the World Series was happening and just after it. And it seems like at that point, they kind of, for lack of a better term, downshifted on the Red Sox and turned their focus elsewhere. Now, they continue to spend money. I hear people all the time saying, well, they didn't spend any money. I mean, in the last 6 years, they spent like $1.3 billion in payroll. It's not like they spent nothing. They've been anywhere from first in the league in 18. They've gone as low as 12th, but they've been hovering around 5th or 6th in the league. They're not spending nothing. I will say they've had some big swings and misses on some players.
Yeah.
I mean, Rafi Devers is a great example. You picked the wrong guy. Mookie Betts, that was never going to happen. So you made that trade. Trevor Story, who's been one of the vocal people coming out, he was a big swing and a miss. The Bregman thing didn't happen the way you wanted it to. There's a lot of things that have happened, but they've continued to put together a team that looked like it should be decent, and they've gone nowhere. And I have to laugh. I want to say it was Ken Rosenthal. Rosenthal came out today and basically blasted the Red Sox front office for how this was handled. And I'm like, So I commented on the post. I'm like, but Ken, you're the guy that picked the Red Sox to win this division this year, I'm pretty sure, because you thought the roster was solid. And now you're saying the roster is trash and it's not Cora's fault. You can't do both. You can't say this roster is going to win a division and then 3 weeks into the season be like, well, actually, no, this roster's trash and it's not the manager's fault. We got to pick a lane here.
Yeah. Well, we all know that writers can't do that, but that's fine.
No.
Carl said it seems as though Nick and Harrison have some strong opinions on Alex Cora.
You want my honest opinion of Alex Cora, Carl? I thought he should have been banned from baseball when the whole cheating thing came out. I have never liked Alex Cora as a manager. I didn't like him in 18, didn't like him in 19, didn't like him this year. I've never wanted Alex Cora, never liked Alex Cora as a manager. I don't think the man should even be in baseball. That's my opinion. I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan. Sean and I used to debate this on the show because he loves Alex Cora. I can't stand the man. I think he's great with the players. I appreciated his career, but I don't think he's a good manager. I think he's like Aaron Boone with different blind spots.
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't know. I don't get what the love fest is about this guy. Like around the league, they're like, "Oh, bring him to our team. We'll take him." Like I don't get it. He hasn't won anything.
Aaron, Joey greater than Alex.
Oh, for sure. It's not even close. Mike says I'm not a Cora hater, but it was definitely time. Curtis, I like Joey Cora instead. Yeah, I just I don't know. The Red Sox are such a mess, man, and they have been. And maybe that's what Alex is seeing. I don't know, but I really. Oh, that's what I was saying. I don't get the love fest with this guy. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's a proven winner."
Where?
When?
Yeah, in 2018 when he managed a super team. Like where?
Oh yeah, well, you guys have had winning seasons. Okay, winning seasons doesn't translate to what, one playoff berth?
And 84 and 78. Yeah, that's a winning season. It sure is. You're right. But it's like, is that how we're judging a guy? He won 84 games.
I mean, yeah. So if the Rockies finish above 500 this year, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, it's a winning season. Yeah, no, Jesus. Come on now.
Yeah. Is that how we're benchmarking guys now? You won more than you lost. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was one of the highest paid guys in baseball. They re-upped him. He was only halfway through that new contract. Yeah, it's $7 million a year. He was like the second highest paid manager behind Counsell.
But you can look at the field, you can look at the Red Sox, and there was zero life other than Wilson Contreras, who was doing anything for that team.
Yeah,
nobody, not even Garrett Crochet, your workhorse. It was just like he's just like rolling the balls out there, and he's like, "All right, guys, go ahead. I'll come get you in the 6th."
And I feel like it's been 3 or 4 straight years. I mean, basically ever since we had the show, where we've been screaming like, how is this team underperforming so badly every year? Is it Cora? What's happening in there? Is it the leadership? What are they missing? What are the gaps? Why can't they play defense? Like, we've gone on so many rants about this team over the last several years, and it's the same things year after year after year. It's why do they underperform? Why can't they get it done? Why can't they catch the ball? Why? Like, what is happening? And why don't players want to stay?
Right. There's a reason Alex Bregman left and didn't opt into a $40 million contract.
Right. There's a reason he said, I'm good. And like, didn't even give the Red Sox like serious consideration.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, as a Red Sox fan, I was pissed when they fired Chaim Bloom. They fired Chaim Bloom because Alex Cora didn't like him. Like, the Red Sox picked Cora over Bloom, and that pissed me off because Bloom was finally moving this thing the right direction. And oh, by the way, that whole lineup you've got right now, it's all Bloom's guys.
Right. Which is probably why
Cora, Abreu, Jaron Duran, Rafaela, I can keep going. They're all Bloom's guys.
Yeah. Which is probably why Cora's pissed. Let's be honest.
Probably why. I mean, and honestly, there's a comment in the chat a little bit ago about, you know, the fact that he seemed like he was checked out, like we're saying. I mean, he hasn't been happy there in like 3 years. And we say it every time. Like, it looks like somebody kicked his dog. Like, he doesn't seem like he wants to be there. He doesn't seem into it. And he's been nothing but bitchy to the media about like, we don't have this, we don't have that, we need this, why don't we have this? Like, he's been a kind of a whiny bitch for the last 3 years. And it's tiring. Like, as a Red Sox fan, it's embarrassing when your manager sits there and talks about all the things you don't have. It's like, okay, well, what are you going to do with what we do have?
Right. Yeah, Chad says he needed to go, but I won't be sold on anything until I see who the permanent replacement is. And that's fair. But do we need, I mean, it's never going to happen, but a change in ownership or a change in how they prioritize things would be where I would start, or hopefully want to start, because it is a full organizational thing at this. It's the top down. It's in shambles. Right? It's either lack of communication. I think Breslow is just a puppet for what the ownership wants. He's not going to ruffle feathers, so he keeps his job, right? He's not going anywhere because he's doing what the ownership wants. So I don't know.
All right. Let's just go like straight out how we feel about the Red Sox. I don't think this is an ownership problem. I think ownership has said, hey, you've got this money. Go spend it. Just go do what you got to do. Don't sign any crazy long-term contracts that are terrible. Don't pay an insane amount of money for guys that leaves us in a bad spot, but you've got money to spend. The Red Sox are at 266 this year. They're 6th in the league. You know, that's a pretty decent number.
Yep.
You should be able to buy some wins with $266 million. I think the issue is, I think you got Sam Kennedy, who's been there for way too long, who does, I don't know what the hell he does, who has all these really pretty words at FanFest, but otherwise is a ghost, who I think just kind of moves things around to make it look good, but doesn't actually do anything to help move things along. I think if you put I think the problem is Chaim Bloom got comfortable and started making decisions, and that pissed Sam Kennedy off. And Sam Kennedy and Alex Cora rallied against him and pushed him out. I think Breslow made this call, and that's going to piss Sam Kennedy off, and Breslow's going to go too. You're going to find the problem here is Sam Kennedy. Sam Kennedy does we don't know what. Fans have hated him for a long time. He gets booed every single year at FanFest, like aggressively booed at FanFest, because he's an empty suit. And I think you're seeing the pieces begin. Sam Kennedy, Alex Cora was his guy. He fought and fought and fought to hang on to him. And now that he's gone, Sam Kennedy's fighting Craig Breslow one-on-one. Now, I don't think Breslow's strong enough to survive. And Chaim Bloom basically got the axe because they ganged up on him. But if you take Sam Kennedy out of the mix and put a real strong general manager in there, you know, somebody who could handle the job, I think you'd have a different result. But I think you have too many guys in there. You got these little fragile, these big egos with all sorts of fragile problems. And that's what you have. You've got a front office that's basically playing one against the other. And I think ownership's like, guys, what the hell? Like, you're burning up our money, finishing 500. What are we doing?
I nailed it. I don't disagree. I mean, he seems to be the common denominator here. I don't. I just
because so I go back here. Here's the reason. Here's the reason I say that. You made a strong offer to Pete Alonso, but you wouldn't give him the last year. Apparently, that was Breslow that didn't want to give him the last year. Now, who told Breslow he shouldn't is up for debate. The other part of it is you lost Alex Bregman over a no trade, which I don't disagree with. I don't like the no trade at his age, but you lost Alex Bregman over a no trade, which was Breslow's decision to stand on that. As he said, that was my call, and I wasn't going to budge on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I applaud you for taking the stance. Like, you took the stance. But at the end of the day, like, we have these organizational policies, and some of this is Breslow making decisions, and some of this is they just don't want to do it. But it wasn't like ownership said, you can't spend that money. Ownership was like, what are you doing to fill the holes? And it's like, well, I tried this and that didn't work, and I tried that and that didn't work. they seem to be giving him some leeway. It's just not working yet.
Which you would expect out of a first-time GM, right?
Sure.
They're gonna make mistakes. It's inevitable.
And I've said it many times. Like, I feel like Breslow is in over his head, and I think he is. And I think, every year it gets better. He gets more experience. He learns the lessons, but it's really hard to be learning on the job in Boston.
Yeah.
That's like, you don't want to be a first-time CEO with Apple because there's really high expectations in that job.
Yeah. Nico says, I fully believe Pete wanted to be in Boston. It was a done deal until it wasn't.
Yep. And it was all about the 5th year. And, who made that call? I don't know. But we know Breslow made the call on the no trade for Bregman. That's why he's not here.
Yeah.
Which I don't disagree with not giving Bregman everything he wanted, but we'll see.
Mike Reed says Kennedy is worse than Lucchino ever was. I think Henry knows he has to let Breslow play out since so many guys didn't want the job. I mean, there's something to say about that. No one wanted that job. Nobody wanted Breslow's job.
No, it was not like there was a line down the street of people waiting for it. Like, some of the guys they called, and we talked about it. Like, some of the guys they wanted to interview were like, "No, I'm good. No, all set. No thanks.
No thanks."
And here's Chaim Bloom, landing in St. Louis. They were happy as hell to have him. And what does he immediately do? Go retool that lineup and rebuild the minor league system. And now Cardinals fans are like, "Oh my God, there's hope," because that's what he does.
And not only that, he brought all the players that he wanted to out of the Red Sox organization by giving them Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray. So all the prospects he wanted in his farm system, he brought over to St. Louis. So, man.
And this is a fair point too, John. Like, Bregman's not even off to a very good start. So it's not like he's killing you.
Right.
Devers is also not off to a very good start. Again, I don't know. I do think the front office has made mistakes, and this lineup and roster could be better. But this lineup and roster is in its current structure. Like we said, this should be one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. They're a mess. This lineup should hit, kind of like they did last year. They're not. These guys still can't catch the ball, and they can't. But it's all the little mistakes that drive me crazy. It's the base running blunders. It's the throwing behind guys. Like, that's on Cora to clean that up. And in 5 years, he hasn't cleaned any of it up.
Right. In fact, it's probably gotten worse.
Probably gotten worse, yes.
Yeah. I just sorry, my dog's dreaming over there. You can probably hear, but
the dog's pissed about Cora too.
Yeah, for sure. She doesn't like it. I don't know what direction they go in. You could see this year, it just looked like they were going through motions.
Yeah.
Like non-competitive at bats is where I kind of start from pitch one of the season till, maybe this weekend, firing Core and getting them out there. Like, seems like it's lit a little bit of a fire the last couple of games, but they were just non-competitive at bats up and down that lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, watch two pitches go right down the middle and flail on a slider 14 inches outside off the plate. So it's just, I think they will turn it around. I think they're too far gone to actually like make a run. It would have to be an epic run here for them to get back into it. But man, oh man. I don't know. Where do they go from here? What are the next steps?
Well, I think the one thing Breslow said that made a lot of sense is when he asked the question of why now, he said, because we have 135 games in front of us to fix this.
To figure it out. Yep.
And we can't keep waiting for it to. He's like, it's not getting better. Like, we're not turning the corner. There's no signs we're turning the corner. So we're better to do it now and leave ourselves enough runway with 135 games left to try to fix this. So Chad Tracy steps in as the interim manager. I mean, Chad Tracy's a great guy. They've loved him down in the minor leagues. And I think you've got to start to look around at who could you go get. There's already a belief that Alex Cora is going to have job offers from like the Phillies and all that waiting for him. I'll be curious what happens. But if you're the Red Sox, you need to get serious about, you need to do the kind of that harder internal work to figure out who the hell are we? Like, what are we going to be? Are we going to go sign contracts? Are we going to build from within? Are we going to be a team that focuses on pitching? Like what are we doing here? Because they keep changing directions. Like even this year, they couldn't get the bats, so they immediately prioritized pitching and run prevention, which was a complete shift from the Red Sox the last few years. Like you can't change your organizational philosophy in 6 weeks. You just can't do that. And you're seeing that right now. Like this is why it's not working. Partially because your manager doesn't agree with your philosophy because you change quickly.
Well, not only that, you can't have a pitching centric philosophy if your defense can't catch the ball.
Right. That's a problem. And they're not getting better. It's like the organization is they've got to sit down and basically say before, like, what are we doing here? What are we trying to be? Who are we going to be? And what are we prioritizing? And let's go find a manager that has the same view. Because Alex Cora has now lived through 2 GMs who had very different philosophies. And Alex Cora didn't like the first one, which was build from within, because he didn't want to wait and he didn't want to deal with all these young kids, I don't think. And he also didn't like the second one. So like clearly he wasn't the right guy for either one of them.
Right.
So it's like, okay, start over. Go find the guy that matches what you're trying to do. That's but you got to figure out what you're trying to do first.
Yeah, and he's out there, but
yes, there's plenty of great managers available.
Yeah. Ed says, what do you guys think of Tracy? All I could think of is like, the videos of when they call up the guy to the major leagues for the first time.
The Boozer one?
Yeah, like the Boozer one. They did it with Tolle. It's like, well, how did they tell Tracy he was going up to the big leagues? Like, I mean, that it's just, I don't know. I think he's got some, Chad just took the words out of my mouth, right? He has seen a lot of these guys in the organization already, right? He has coached Anthony. He has coached Meyer. He has coached a lot of these guys. And
like half that roster.
Right. Abreu, all of them, Duran. So like, and you have veterans. I mean, Story's not performing, but he's an MLB veteran that is a leader on that team, right? Wilson Contreras, he's new to the team, but he's an MLB veteran. He knows what it takes day in, day out. Like they have the pieces, they have the talent. But when you have a manager that doesn't give a shit, you're not going to give a shit on the field. It directly translates. And that's exactly what we saw at the beginning of the year. So maybe getting Tracy up there with some familiarity and just like, hey, like we're here to win ball games and I care. I'm here. Maybe it does change it around. But like Carl says, you can't win it in April, but you sure as hell can lose it. And they have a very big hole to climb out of.
Yeah, and I think Tracy's very well respected. The players like him. That like we said, most of them know him because they played for him. And he's not coming up trying to prove anything. Like apparently he's not looking to keep this job. Like he wants to be down in the minor leagues. He likes player development. Great. You need those. Like there's a great example of a manager who knows where he fits. I like player development. Give me the young kids.
Right.
And actually Mike corrected me. Cora was obviously Dombrowski built the 2018 roster and Cora was here for that. Cora liked Dombrowski of the 3 GMs he's had because he spent a boatload of money and just loaded the roster. Every manager likes those guys because they make their lives easier.
Yeah.
But I do think Chad Tracy comes up here understanding the organization's development philosophy, understands how most of these kids operate, isn't trying to necessarily keep the job, and knows how to develop players. And he's coming with a blank slate. Dude, here you go. Figure it out. Like we got to do some internal work to figure out what we're doing next. For now, just right the ship. And I think there's some slam dunks. It's you can reset that bullpen a little bit. You can change up the lineup a little bit, put it back the way it should be. But you can't fix the fact that Garrett Crochet looks lost out there.
Yeah.
You can't fix the fact that Sonny Gray is hurt. You can't there's certain things that he can't fix. Maybe they can start to get into it, but you do have problems that you can't just solve.
Yeah. Moving Anthony out of the leadoff spot's a good start, I think. I do too. I think it was just a little bit too much pressure for him, and not having Duran up there is weird. I
I get the best hitter in the leadoff spot argument, but it doesn't always work.
No. And then Curtis, bring back Veritek, who you just fired yesterday. So the news is that they reassigned him. They didn't fire him. They reassigned him, and then Veritek said, no thanks.
Yeah.
And he was your game plan coach, which, I mean, I hate to say it. I obviously love the dude, right? I mean, he's my favorite player. And not putting together great game plans if you're losing like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would say that I don't know what the game plan coordinator really even does in Major League Baseball. This isn't like football where you're like mapping out plays, but I will say so they fired 5 coaches. Veritek was not fired. He was reassigned. He said no thanks, but it sounds like that's not a final decision. He's thinking about it. So he may come back in a couple of days and be like, on second thought, I'll stick around. But yeah, I mean, nobody on that coaching staff has done jack this year to basically protect their job. They got rid of the hitting strategy coach, the hitting coach. I mean, whatever. Some of these jobs sound made up.
Oh, they are. Let's be honest.
Right. they probably are. But it's like this is a full house cleaning.
Yeah.
It is very much a, top to bottom scrub.
Yeah,
let's go straight
the
over.
on deck coach, I think, also got fired. I think that's the position.
I mean, I'm not. The ball boy might have gotten it too. Like, I'm not even sure what happened, but like everybody in that dugout is gone.
Which is crazy. They would have fired him. He's got the highest fielding percentage on the team. Just saying.
Fair. The only one out there that can catch the ball most nights.
Carl, I mean, how would you feel about David Ross? He has managerial experience. He has ties to the Red Sox. I think he was dealt a bad hand with the Cubs and deserves another shot.
Well, he got screwed by the Cubs, who discarded him for Counsell for no reason, and Counsell's giving you nothing.
Yeah.
I love David Ross. For the record, I loved David Ross. I would totally take David Ross. I don't know that David Ross is the right guy for this team, though. Because I do think you still have to figure out, like, are you looking for a guy who's going to be patient to develop players? Are you looking for a guy who can manage a more experienced roster? Like, what is your organizational philosophy going to be so you can go find a guy that fits?
Screw it. Bring in Joe Madden. Let's come on. Just bring the madness. Let's go.
Albert Pujols is still out there somewhere, my friend.
Yadi Molina.
Oh, bring Yachty and Pujols together. Package deal. One's the manager, one's the bench coach.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. I think you need a manager that is not green around the gills. You need somebody with a little bit of experience to handle Boston media. You can't have a first-time GM in Breslow and a first-time manager going and expect this team to be in any shape going forward, right? I mean, maybe. I don't know. Do you just try to build them up together, or do you bring somebody in with experience?
I don't know. I think you can go a few different directions, and so some of the names have been floated immediately. Where obviously people say, maybe Chad Tracy sticks around. Maybe the organization asks him to stay. Who knows? Other names that came up: Rocco Baldelli, Ryan Flaherty has come up. He's very well respected. Might be in a hunt for manager job here soon. Brandon Hyde,
homecoming for Flaherty too would be sick,
big time. Brandon Hyde and Brad Osmus, all of whom are great managers in their own right. Are they the right manager for what they're gonna do in Boston? What the plan is? I don't know, but there's some good names out there.
Bring me Brandon Hyde, because not only do I think he would be good, he would want to stick it to the Orioles.
Oh, big time. He'd have an absolute vendetta.
Yeah. Which I want
as long as it's not Mark DeRosa.
Fair.
Yeah, no D-Row here. We need him to know like what tomorrow means.
Yeah, Curtis Pedroia. I mean, as cool of a story as that would be, I want a manager with a little bit of experience at least, I think. Yeah. Well, yeah, when Tony La Russa wakes up for his nap, he's still available.
Well, and some names that came up too that weren't mentioned as maybe good fits, but guys that are out there is like you still got David Bell out there, who got railroaded by the Cincinnati Reds. You got Skip Schumacher, who walked away.
He's in Texas.
Oh, it's raised in Texas. That's right. He's in Texas now. You have Joe Madden comes up. Buck Showalter, I feel like, is way too old at this point. Joe Girardi. I mean, I don't think you bring a former Yankees manager back, but he was solid.
Yeah. Honestly, the two that I would want, I think, is Baldelli or Hyde.
I'm with you.
Those-
I like both of them.
I would take either one of them, honestly. But I don't know. Yeah, Pujols is still available. I mean, why not? Give it a try.
I mean, if Pujols and Yachty come together, I'm sold. Give me both of them.
Yeah.
But I do, to go back to Veritek real quick, I do wonder where this leaves the Red Sox with Veritek. Is he like out? That's it? Like his relationship with the franchise is done? Or is this like, I need to go cool off and I'll be back?
I think it's a cool off and be back. I mean, he's been 30 years in the organization. I don't think he's just going to walk away. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe this was it. And he was just like, you know what? It's time for me to go home.
He was super loyal to Cora, and I don't really understand what the relationship was there, but I don't know. It's weird that he'd be reassigned and he's kind of like, nah, I'm good. But like the door's still open. It's kind of like the organization is saying like, hey, we don't really want you to go anywhere, but like, please reconsider.
Yeah. I don't know. It's trade for Tito from Cincinnati. Bring Tito back into Fenway, man. Oh, man. That would be incredible.
It's funny how wherever Tito goes, they win, right?
Yeah.
Because he knows how to handle players and also get them to play good baseball.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's obviously a story we're going to keep an eye on, from here on out. But I mean, coming off the firing, the Red Sox have had a couple of good games. So maybe it just kind of, woke them up a little bit. Like someone finally like snapped their fingers in front of their eyeballs and they're like, oh crap. Yeah, we're playing baseball. Forgot about that thing that we were doing.
So one of the things that came out from all this, and it was Garrett Whitlock that said it, and I think it's worth pointing out, is the fact that, a lot of the players, including Trevor Story has been very vocal about not knowing the direction of the organization. Okay, like fair. But it came out that during the meeting when Breslow kind of stood in front of the team, let him know that, hey, we've relieved AC of his duties, and here's what we're doing. It was brought up by Garrett Whitlock as well as other players. It's like, well, what's the plan here? And it was kind of pushed back on them of, your job is to play baseball. That's what you should be worried about. We don't need you guys worrying about the organization and the front office and the moves that are going to come. Like, your job is to play baseball. And Whitlock took that away as, well, I feel like we've been kind of slighted. Like, we're being told just to play baseball. But I'd like to remind Garrett Whitlock that your contract says you play baseball. You don't manage the Red Sox. You don't make decisions for the roster. You're a baseball player. So go play friggin' baseball. And it sounds like that's one of the things that Breslow's most concerned about, is that there's an awful lot of other stuff going on in that clubhouse. Guys getting into things they shouldn't be involved in. And that was part of this. And for them to stand in front of this group and reiterate the fact that you guys are here to play baseball and baseball only, so just go play, is a little bit eye-opening. That you have to tell Major League Baseball players to cut the crap and go play baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get that point, but I also get where Garrett Whitlock's coming from too. Like, okay, like, yes, I need to go out and perform and do my job, but like, who's coming in? Who's leading the team? Like, it's not us. It's not up to me or Trevor Story to lead this team. Like, who's taking us into battle? Who's driving this thing? And if you don't have a direction, you got 25 players driving in 25 different directions. So, like, I see where Garrett Whitlock's coming from, but I also see where Breslow's coming from. But there's just so much dysfunction right now that, like, there is no direction in my eyes.
Right. And I think that you've got guys spending a lot of time talking about it when maybe they should be in the cage or in the bullpen or watching some tape. It seems like there's a feeling that these guys aren't focused because there's a level of distraction that was being allowed in that clubhouse. Maybe not. Maybe it was just a reminder of, hey guys, like stop worrying about this thing. We're going to figure it out. We'll keep you posted, but go play baseball. Or was it, hey, cut the crap and just go do your job? Like Bill Belichick said for 20 years, do your job.
Right.
And I do think there's something to that. You know, you look at these teams that have had crazy success. You know, the Dodgers, that's not a team that's like hugging it out and high-fiving it. Like those are professionals that come in, do their job and go and do it well. Like you don't have to be all lovey and a bunch of hype guys if you just come in and do your job.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of sums it up, Ed. You're not wrong here. They spent the winter trying to trade the one guy who was out there going after it every game in Jarren Duran. Yeah. I love how he plays baseball. He hits a ground ball. Yep. He is running full speed every single time, whether it's an automatic out or not. He is full tilt, right? That's how you're supposed to play the game. But it's total dysfunction.
Unfortunately, the stat line for him sucks right now.
Well, that's gonna turn around. I would think
it has to, right?
Yeah,
like it's bad.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's kind of move on from the Red Sox. We gave that a solid hour, so let's move on from that.
Yeah.
And go to another Red Sox here. Aroldis Chapman passes Goose Gossage for second most Ks by a reliever all time, 1,341. That is a lot of strikeouts to pile up 3 outs at a time. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's an awful lot of strikeouts. And this just in, Aroldis Chapman throws the ball really good and hard.
Yeah. I mean, that's a serious amount of Ks, 3 outs at a time. It blows my mind, but crazy.
And here's a guy is he 38 now? 38 now.
Yeah, 38, 39.
Who's still bringing it at 100 plus and makes it look like it's no big deal.
Is he a Hall of Famer, Harrison?
Oh, Chapman, no. I think Chapman's going to fall just short. If he can get to the 400 save threshold, I think he's a Hall of Famer. But I don't. Right now, if he retired today, no.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, no, because he doesn't have the saves for me.
Oh, man. He's just been so dominant for so long.
But look how hard it was for Billy Wagner to get in with 100 plus more saves.
But I think that breaks the dam. Like I really think it does. You know what I mean? I think like now that he's in there, they're gonna look at relievers a little bit different. Especially, I don't know.
I'm not saying I don't think Aroldis Chapman belongs there. I'm saying I don't think he gets in because I don't think the writers will vote him in. I think at 400 saves, to me, he's an automatic. Put him in. Where he is right now, to me, he's borderline. I'd be okay if he went in, but I don't think he gets voted in. Because again, remember, Aroldis Chapman has all the off-field shit.
That's
the domestic abuse, the tattoo infection. Like Aroldis Chapman brings a lot of baggage with him that the writers are going to hold against him. So, like, I think he's got a tougher case to get into the Hall of Fame than these guys that are ahead of him.
Yeah, that's fair. I forgot all about the off the field stuff. That's absolutely fair.
He's got some baggage.
Yeah, John Temple. Chapman is a Hall of Famer. To me, the writers, that's a no. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
To me, Aroldis Chapman, I'm fine either way. Like, does he belong in the Hall of Fame? Probably. But are they going to put him in? Hell no.
Yep. That's fair. That's pretty much what everyone's saying. We think he's a Hall of Famer, but most likely not getting in.
Yeah. He definitely needs, I think he definitely needs 400 saves to get the writers to pay attention, but he comes with a lot of baggage. And honestly, there's a lot of guys he pissed off along the way too.
Yeah.
It's sad that this again, we're talking about the fact that like he made people mad is the reason he won't be in. But I think for him, it's going to be the domestic abuse that's going to keep him out. People are going to say, no, bad guy, don't vote him in.
I agree. Well, speaking of nasty closers, Mason Miller's dominance. Can we just talk about this for a second? He's got 13 games pitched. He's got 10 saves. He's only given up 3 hits, 27 Ks, and He has a balmy 0 ERA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen this type of dominance out of any pitcher to start a season like this?
I mean, this is like elite Eric Gagne. Maybe even better, maybe even a tick better than that. I've not seen a closer this dominant probably in my lifetime. Mariano Rivera got us some crazy good starts. You know, we saw the Gagne's electric stretch. Mason Miller might be better than both of them right now. I don't know what. And the scary part is, like, guys are walking away from the plate like shaking their heads. Like, they don't know what to do with him. Between the gas and then the off-speed stuff, they have no idea what to do.
No chance. There's no chance. They're walking up to the plate shaking their head.
Yeah.
They're like looking back to the dugout and they're like, "Are you pinch hitting for me? Please? Please, someone pinch hit for me." They don't want to face this dude.
And Mason Miller's new entrance is electric.
Yes, it's so good.
It's amazing. I mean, the dude comes into that and then he just blows you away.
I mean, yeah, this could be the greatest individual season by any reliever ever. To me, the best season ever by a reliever. Eckersley, when he had 4 walks at a .61 ERA, which is nuts. This is better. I mean, start a pool, first player to take him yard. Dude, they can't even foul it off on him. I don't know when he gets taken yard.
I've never seen major league batters look so lost at the plate as they do against this guy. And he doesn't throw anything crazy. Like, he throws really hard and mixes up the speeds really well, and you've got no shot. It's not like he throws like some crazy, like, splinker, wild, nut, crazy breaking pitch. Like, he throws pretty basic stuff, just does it really well.
Fastball, sliders. Fastball's at 103 and his slider's at 85, which is a drastic difference. And you never know which one's coming. Yeah. I mean, you geared up for the fastball and the slider comes, like, forget it. Or you're geared up for the slider and the fastball comes, forget it. Like, and he mixes it up so well, you just have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
No idea.
Watching major leaguers just flail and then walk away shaking their head at bat after at bat after at bat is wild.
Yeah. What mark do we need to see him to get the Cy Young? If he's under a 1 ERA, hell, I'll even say if he's under a .12 ERA, he's probably in the running, right? 35 saves, 40 saves, around 100 Ks.
Yeah, I think if he's under 100 ERA, if he's under a 1 ERA with 40 plus saves, I think he's absolutely in the conversation. I mean, we saw Class A have that insane season. He finished what, 5th in the Cy Young?
I think 2nd that year.
Was he 2nd that year?
I think he was 2nd. He was 2nd or 3rd.
Are we allowed to talk about him yet? Is that?
I bet that we were going to bring him up this year.
He finished 3rd in the Cy Young that year.
3rd. Okay, it was 3rd.
Yeah, 47 saves with a .61 ERA. Gave up 5 earned runs all year. He finished 3rd. I mean,
so then I would have to say that he would have to get under a .5 with
or
48
50
saves.
Or 50 plus.
Right, or 50. Right, exactly. But calm down, boys. It's the Padres. Plenty of time for the wheels to fall off the bandwagon.
I mean, the whole rest of the wagon may fall apart, but this guy won't.
You've never heard of a splinker, Michael?
That's what
Paul Skeens throws.
Paul Skeens. It's a splitter sinker.
The splinker nut wild breaking pitch, editor's choice to the dictionary. An off-speed pitch now possessed by Mason Miller.
I
love it. Oh, here they come. Oh, Class A. That was a rough suspicion. Anyways, yeah.
He's been suspicious for a while.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this stretch of 13 games that I've seen, and I don't watch a lot of Padres, but if it's towards the 8th or 9th inning and the Padres have a lead, I flip it over to watch this guy pitch.
Oh yeah, I'm now watching to see if he comes in the game for sure.
Oh man, it's wild.
Yep, I'm like monitoring the scoreboard. Like, is he coming in? Because if he is, I'm flipping over to it.
Yeah, And like you said, they're not even within a foot of touching these baseballs.
It's terrible.
gross.
I mean, these guys are just they're just flailing and walking away like, oh my god, what just happened?
Oh, and not only that, on top of this is a stat I didn't put in. He's got 2 walks. That's it.
Oh yeah.
So, like, he's coming at them and they still can't touch him.
No.
Like, they know he's coming in the zone. They still can't touch him. It's wild. But yeah. All right. Speaking of elite pitching, quote unquote, Trevor Bauer, no hitter in a 7-inning game for the Long Island Ducks today. Watch out, social media. He's coming for the MLB.
Like, I can't wait for the fallout from this. I mean, this will just be fun. Although I haven't seen anything crazy from Trevor Bauer today, but he might wait until tomorrow to kind of voice his opinion. But I mean, again, Long Island Ducks, it's not like you're in AAA or something. Like, still impressive, but you're playing against, indie kids.
Yeah, I mean, still good talent in some of those independent ball league teams. And we've seen Trevor Bauer actually get raked in the cage. So crazy to see it kind of translate over to the field. But
watch out, center field. He's coming for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm expecting some Trevor Bauer news for sure. I'm blocked by Bauer on Twitter. Oh man, that's pretty cool accomplishment, Carl.
That's actually amazing, Carl.
Yeah,
you pissed him off enough to get blocked.
Yeah. So, how about Mizorowski with the fastest strikeout pitch ever recorded by a starter, 102.7 miles per hour. He's a freak too. Those guys,
his stuff is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He just has to command it, and he's all set.
Yeah.
Michael, I could no hit a little league team, so
I'm gonna say that you couldn't, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of these little league teams?
I don't know. I couldn't no hit any of them.
No way. All right, Harrison, what do you got us from out of left field?
We're at the 2-hour mark. We still have trivia after this, so we may want to skip the topics and go to the trivia. Otherwise, we'll be here all night.
I'm fine with it. I got nowhere to be.
All right.
No, do you want to skip them?
Are
they in depth?
I think a couple of these could turn into quite the conversation.
All right, we'll skip them. All right. Go on to trivia.
Let's go on to some trivia. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to go guess who. So it's kind of like who is that guy, but it's more like hints about who they are versus like the picture. So I think some of these are pretty easy. I think some of these are a little bit harder. We'll see how it goes.
Is your guy wearing a hat?
Yeah, I used to love this game. That's where I literally got the idea from. The kids had the game out. I'm like, oh, I could totally turn this into a trivia segment.
Yep.
So here we are.
Does your guy have a mustache?
Yeah. So, all right. So the first, guess who? I spent most of my career in Baltimore. I had more than 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. I was Rookie of the Year in 1977, and I was a switch hitter. Can you guess who?
Yep. A layup to start. Thank you.
I got to give you an easy one to get started. There you go.
Yep. Kyle got it right off the bat. Eddie Murray and John Carter got it.
Good.
Yeah, Eddie Murray for sure.
All right. So now we kind of see how this works.
Yeah. Pretty easy. Curtis, what we'll do is we'll push those discussion topics to Thursday. So we won't skip them. We'll bring them back on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll come back to them.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody got it. Eddie Murray for sure.
Marvelous.
Nice. All right.
Next one. I spent most of my career in Cincinnati. I once stole 80 bases in a season. From 1986 to 1990, I was one of the best players in MLB. And I could have been a legend. So can you guess who?
I can. Flat Cheese already kind of jumped the gun there. That's funny.
Oh, that is actually pretty funny. I didn't even see that.
It was a guess on the last one, but yeah, Flat Cheese. Yeah,
I didn't even see that come through. Are you guys like getting a pre-read of these?
Yeah, I actually send it out in Patreon before. So
Nice.
the whole slideshow. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Eric Davis. Nice job, everyone.
Nice.
Yeah, easy one. Everyone got that one too. All right.
All right. Next one. Guess who? I spent most of my career in Oakland and Baltimore. I set the shortstop record of 110 for consecutive errorless games. I replaced a guy that never took a day off, and I am in the Orioles Hall of Fame. Can you guess who?
Let's go. I love this dude.
There it is.
Yeah. I'm so terrible. I'm actually good.
You're actually just ahead of us all, Flat Cheese. You're just way ahead of us all.
Yeah. It's not Miguel Tejada, Carl, and Curtis. That's a good
Oh.
guess. It is not him. The Oakland and Baltimore fit for sure. Michael got it. It is Mike Bordick for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, Mike Bordick. A UMaine product. That's how I knew it right away.
Yeah, you went to Camden for
wonderful.
high school or whatever. He was spent some time in Maine. But yeah, so the one that I was hoping would give it away was I replaced the guy that never took a day off because he was the one that pushed Cal Ripken to third.
Yep. Yeah, Maine's Mike Bordick is for sure. Nice.
There it is. All right. Guess who? I spent most of my career in Atlanta, but started in Oakland. I almost won the Cy Young in 2000 when I won 20 games. I once pitched and drove in all of the runs to win the game. And I won a World Series in San Francisco. Can you guess who?
Oh, the teams just gave it away to me. Yeah, Chad, you got it right about the same time. Yep. Yeah, it is Tim Hudson for sure. Yep. Nice. Everyone just got it. Tim Hudson.
That is Huddy.
Yep. Nice.
Kind of forget he spent more of his career in Atlanta than Oakland.
Well, that's usually the case with all their pitchers, Harrison.
Well, fair.
Just the trio of pitchers that would come up and then they just ship them all out. Just crazy.
Yes.
But
so this next one, Nick, I did for you. So I need you to at least let me read all the clues before you answer it. But this one is strictly for you. Or I shouldn't say strictly, but it was intentionally done for you.
Okay, great.
Guess who? I spent most of my career in Boston. I won a highly contested MVP award. I drove in 100+ runs 6 times and hit 40 or more home runs twice. And I give George Bell nightmares. Can you guess who?
Yeah, I definitely know this one, and I'm actually embarrassed because when we were on the Clearing the Bases show last Wednesday, we were talking about brawls and how this one was like my favorite one, and I for the life of me, George Bell's name was like leaving my head. I couldn't think, and I was like, God, but dude, when he comes flying out of the left side of the picture, man, is nothing like it. One of the best hits.
Yeah, he came up on one of our shows, like the last few shows. I'm like, I gotta make him a trivia answer at some point soon.
I actually just found in an old scrapbook pictures of me at Mobon hitting camp that my grandmother took from like the top level of bleachers. So you can't even see me in the pictures, but
oh, sweet.
I'm in the SMCC like gym. But yeah, crazy. My father talked about that hit all the time.
Yeah. So originally my last hint was I don't get along with stairs because of course that's how he messed up his ankle and eventually ended his career. But I'm like, no, we're going George Bell on this one.
Oh, for sure. Have to. Man, Big Mo.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I was 12 when I went to the hitting camp and I got to stand next to him in our like group photo. And he puts his arm on my shoulder and my whole shoulder just goes, oh, like just the sheer, it was like somebody just like dropped. Oh my God.
Disappear out of the picture.
Oh God. Just shoulder was like, holy crap, man. Just massive human being. Crazy. Like he wasn't tall, but he was like 4 of me wide. Insane.
There's a Buick that stood up.
Yeah. Crazy.
All right. Guess who? I spent most of my career in Montreal, but enjoyed Denver. I won the 1993 batting title when I hit 370. I was a 2-time comeback player of the year, once from cancer. And I finished 1 home run shy of 400. Can you guess who?
This is a great one. Did Mo start the Angels free agent curse? Man, he might have.
Might have, yeah.
Larry Walker is a great guess. It is not Larry Walker. It is definitely Andres Galarraga. Big cat. Nice job, Carl and John Carter. Yeah. I remember the cancer bout. I don't remember what year it was, but
it was later in his career. He didn't come back for very long after it.
Right. Crazy, man. That 370 year. I forgot he hit 370.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But man, yeah. Close enough. Probably autocorrect got you, Ed. Yeah, Galarraga. Love it. The big cat. Bartolo Colon. Close.
Yeah. All right. Guess who? I spent most of my career in Texas. I had 10 consecutive seasons of at least 38 home runs and 100 RBIs. I won 3 Gold Gloves and was an All-Star 4 times. And I hit 200 home runs for 2 different teams. Can you guess who?
Wow, that took way too long to sink in for me. I think I got it now. Yikes. Yeah. Thanks, Carl.
Nick had to reboot for a minute.
I was like, yeah. Yeah, absolutely Rafi Palmeiro for sure. At least I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I see, like, for me, like, I know he spent most of his career in Texas, but I picture Rafael Palmeiro as an Oriole. I don't know why. But like, I feel like in my head, he spent more time with Baltimore than he did Texas, which I know obviously isn't right, but
I think it's because of the years he spent there. It's like, if you look at his career, he was in Texas from 89 to 93. Then he went back to Texas from 99 to 2003, but he was in Baltimore in 94 through 98, which were big, like, seasons for me to watch, but also like 96, 97, 98 were big seasons in general.
Right. So, yeah. Yeah, one of his Gold Gloves is when he played 28 games at first base and DH most of the year. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. But, yeah, Rafi Palmeiro. Yeah, Mike's with me. Thinks of him more as an Oriole than he does a Ranger. Like, I obviously knew he played there, but just picture him. But, yeah. Good one.
All right. Guess who? I spent most of my career in Texas, but visited other places. I hit the first playoff walk-off grand slam in history. I am the oldest player to hit 30 home runs in a season. And I was the 2011 ALCS MVP. Can you guess who?
Walk-off grand slam. Oh.
Give Chad a minute. We'll
maybe
roll some answers in. No, sir.
Everyone's saying Nelson Cruz. It could be him.
Chad has it.
Okay, Nelson Cruz. I was thinking Lance Berkman, but that might be too late for Berkman. 2011.
Yep,
I don't remember.
Nelly.
And I was thinking you were using Texas, like generically, because Houston and the Rangers.
Got it. Yeah, no, as Texas, as in the Texas Rangers.
Yep. So, because that would have been tricky, but nice one. Nice, fellas. Way to pick me up.
All right. Guess who? I spent most of my career in Milwaukee. I also hit a lot of home runs in 1998, reaching my career high. I am the only player traded after a 50 home run season. And I won Comeback Player of the Year in 1998. Can you guess who?
Oh, yeah. Carl's got it, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, Mike Reed as well. Nice. Yeah, its 50 home run season was with the Padres, I believe, right?
That's the one.
That's their only 50 home run season in history. Greg Vaughn. Yep.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, so good.
All right, last one. I spent most of my career in Seattle, but made 7 other stops. I gave up the most career home runs in MLB history. I am the oldest pitcher to win a game and throw a shutout. And I finished with 269 wins. Can you guess who?
It's not a show until this happens. It is not a show until we mention this
I think
guy.
Flat Cheese mentioned like a minute or two ago. He's like, "What is it with you guys not putting him in the show anymore?" It's like, well, here he is. Just wait. Just wait.
Yeah, here they all come. Yeah,
We couldn't kick off this segment without Moyer in it. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. Oh man, so it's Randy Johnson, right?
Definitely, yep.
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
Bosio, actually, not Randy. Sorry.
Yeah, Jamie Moyer, man, love it. May Moyer be with you, and also you.
Also with you,
man. Love it. Those are fun. I love that we're kind of like going a different way with it. I love those. So
yeah, it's just try to mixing it up a little bit. You know, we done the Who Is That Guy format for a little while. Let's we've talked about do you do it without a silhouette? Do you do it with just hints? Well, let's try some stuff. Let's see what chat likes.
Yeah. So yeah. So now I gotta get creative for Thursday, Harrison. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. But
Sterling Hitchcock. I love a good Sterling Hitchcock reference.
Yep. So good.
Actually, Sterling Hitchcock was what kicked off the entire idea for the Who Is That Guy trivia. I did a random reel where I put his picture up and just basically said, "Who is that guy?" Yeah. And that kicked off the whole concept of that trivia.
Yeah, who is that guy? That's right. Yeah, because we had I had some version of it 3 years ago where we did the blurred picture trivia.
Yep.
Where I listed some accomplished but we've definitely separated them into different categories now. So
yeah, and cool. There's certain ones that I've continued to take and evolve. You've taken and continued to evolve.
Yeah.
It's Mike Reed. I like the before and after trivia.
Yeah, those are fun for me to try to come up with. Yep. I'll be sitting in bed and I'll just be like, all right, which ones fit here? I'll just start naming random baseball.
Yeah, like Eric Hand's Sonny Gray.
Right.
There, nailed it.
Yep. So yeah, love it. Like John Sterling Hitchcock.
There you go.
So yeah, I'll just be sitting there in bed and I'll just be like, Craig Biggio. All right. Oh, Alan Craig Biggio. Got it. All right. How about the next one? It's like, oh, Brandon Nimmo Von Grissom. Got it. All right. I'll write it down. I have a whole list of them, but yeah, love it. All right. Well, do you have anything else for tonight? I mean, kind of a action-packed show there with Vada Pinson at the top, Red Sox for an hour. I mean,
yeah, no, I don't think I have anything else to add. News-wise, I think we hit the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest one for sure. I mean, Chapman hitting that milestone, nobody hitting Mason Miller. I mean,
although I will say
crazy.
The Mets just capped off their sweep by the Rockies, and they've now lost 15 of 17. There is a lot of comments going around baseball that the Mets and Phillies are both likely to fire their managers, and they may be the ones that are competing to try to get Alex Cora.
Well, then they should have fired their manager at 4:00 today.
Yeah, because the thinking is that now that he's available, these teams that are on the fence are going to act quickly to try to go and make a move, which that'll tell us how appealing he is to other teams.
I just don't I don't understand it. I really don't. And maybe I'm missing something, but I don't. Which okay, where's the better fit for Alex Cora, Philly or New York?
Philly, because it's Dombrowski, and it's a roster full of superstars with egos.
Sure, sure. I I don't know. I don't know where the better fit for him is at this point. I mean, he just looks so disinterested being in Boston that I mean, does he get rejuvenated in a different spot with two teams that are also at the bottom of the barrel and playing like dog poop in a wet paper bag?
I don't know. Like, I don't know personally what he's looking for. Like, if either one of those teams even speaks to him, but I do think that his connection to Dombrowski from 2018, the fact that Philly spends money, the fact that you've got all those big money contracts and egos, Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, and like you go down the list, that I think is a team that is more attractive than the Mets, which is just a flat out dumpster fire.
I mean, that it's a fair point. I mean, but if he goes to the Mets and Cohen dishes all these contracts like he does every year, it doesn't work.
Mhm.
And Cora gets in and has front office say, like he did in Boston for a while there. Before Breslow was in, Alex Cora had a lot of say
He
in the
did.
front office there,
More than he should have.
if you remember. Yes. And that's where like the Verdugo stuff started to blow up and like kind of got out of hand there. And then Bloom exits. Does he do the same thing in New York? Maybe.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I'm kind of
I just think
like I'm with Ed on this. Like, I think that Cora needs to take the year off. He hasn't been into it for like 2 years now. He seems like he's just going through the motions.
yeah. I mean, Curtis, you want Aaron Boone and Alex Cora in the same city at the same time?
That'd be amazing.
Eek. Oh God, brutal. I agree with this, Mike. Rob Thompson. We were talking about if you're resetting the organization, why aren't you getting rid of him? If you're tearing it all down, why are you keeping your manager? It didn't make any sense to us.
The only case we could make was maybe you want to have one thing be consistent if you're going to make a bunch of changes, but then they didn't go make a bunch of changes, so you ended up with just running it back with basically the same group intact. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Yeah. And you didn't even get rid of Alec Boehm, who has been on the trade block for 5.5 years, it seems.
Yeah. You accomplished nothing in the offseason.
I mean, you did ditch Castellanos to the Padres, but you still had to pay $22 million to do so, which is wild.
Yeah.
But at least you did that.
Yeah, and you let Ron Hare Suarez.
Yeah. On-air production meeting. Could you guys do a segment where you profile and break down a team's GM and what they are about each week? Possibly. I mean, Harrison would be definitely better at that than I would. I'd just add my 2 cents in there here and there, but that's something we could probably do.
Yeah, we could look into that.
Dude, down for that?
Yeah, I think you've got an interesting bunch of GMs around the league and very, very different philosophies and approaches. So that could actually be kind of fun.
Nightmare scenario: Boone gets fired and replaced with Cora, and then the Red Sox pick up Boone.
No, better, but nightmare scenario: Boone keeps the manager job. Alex Cora comes on as the bench coach, and they together rule New York.
Oh God, man!
Could you imagine Boone and Cora on the same bench together? God,
no,
they would ruin the both of them.
We wouldn't even have a bullpen left.
No, you literally have guys out there that couldn't function anymore.
Man, crazy. But yeah, John Carter, we'll talk about that and see if we can add it in here.
Do you have a particular GM in mind you want us to start with?
Well, let me guess, the Minnesota Twins.
Do they have a GM?
I don't think not at the moment.
I thought they just had like
think.
a lead teacher for all the young guys.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
But,
So Aaron, I use GM like interchangeably because a lot of these guys that are president of baseball ops or chief baseball officers are basically just GMs with a bigger staff.
yeah. Yeah, just give us all perspective around the league. Yeah. So John doesn't care where we start,
Okay.
but just possibly fight night in the Bronx if that happened. Curtis is like Harrison, never that. And Mike says Boone would never let Cora in.
No, that's true. He would not want Cora in his sandbox.
Do the Twins have a team? Maybe
a better one than a number of other markets right now, believe it or not.
Yeah. Although Curtis did say back there they're starting to fall back down to earth. It's like, yeah, because they're done playing the Mets.
I mean, yeah, they've lost 5 in a row. I mean, they're kind of falling back where they were expected to be.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
But don't look now. The Mariners have won 4 in a row. They're trying to raise themselves from the dead.
I mean, they were just, and I mean, them and the Red Sox literally almost identical seasons.
It's
really,
yeah, painful.
I mean, just they couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. Like both of them. Like it was that bad. But looks like offense is starting to come around a little bit. Timing's there. But yeah. I mean, honestly, Yankees firing Boone for Cora would be objectively the funniest outcome. 1,000%. And then the Red Sox picking up Boone, I'd just be like, let's go. Just bring on the chaos.
Oh,
we
my
love
God.
the chaos. Imagine that. Wild.
That would be something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Cardinals have also lost 4 in a row. So those little underdog teams that were fighting have started to fall back.
Yeah. I mean, Rockies are still kind of kicking around a little bit. They show spurts of
because they just played the Mets. Everybody that plays the Mets looks good.
Right, but I mean, they won 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers last weekend.
I mean, they're 13 and 16. I mean, they are respectable.
Considering.
Yes,
right.
Considering.
Yeah, every team in the NL Central still above 500 is crazy too.
It is wild.
I don't. It's. Man.
And again, every team in the NL Central would be in second place in the NL East.
Well, yeah.
And half of them would be leading the AL West. So,
are the A's still in first there?
Yeah, they got a game up on the Rangers, who are 500.
Yep, love it. Let's go, Sacktown. I'm all for it, but they can win on the road, man. It's a coin flip every time they get back to Sacramento.
Brutal.
It's just a coin flip.
Yeah, I mean they're 5-5 at home, 10-8 on the road. But we're going to see those home stats I think slide because I actually think home field to them is a disadvantage because their pitching is not built for a fly ball park.
No. Yeah, Rockies didn't have 13 wins until June last year, like mid-June last year. It's crazy, man. Yeah, Landon Roop this season, 35 and 1 innings pitched, 2.55 ERA, 149 average, man. 37 Ks, 14 walks, 4 hits over his last 3 starts.
Crazy.
Been pretty good. Love that. Yeah, Braves are playing well. I'll give it to you. But when's the IL start? That's what I'm still waiting for. I mean, I know they started off on the IL, which they shocked me that they pitched the ball as well as they have. But I'm glad your Braves are doing well. So, I mean, if I could watch them, I'd probably, appreciate it a lot more, but I can't tune into Braves games, which is the stupidest thing ever. But,
I mean, you're so close to them.
Yeah, right. Same thing with Baltimore and Washington.
I mean, at least you could get to them for a game. Atlanta's a drive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you're not prepping for October this year, I feel sorry for you. That's right. Yeah, let's go, Greg. I'm with you. Man. Yeah, Braves are the best team in the league right now, for sure. So, yeah. We'll see. I mean, there's still tons of baseball left, but maybe we'll break them down a little bit more on Thursday, depending on if we got some news to talk about or not. But might have some Phillies and Mets firings by then, so we will see. But that's all I got for this evening. Do you have anything else?
That's
Harrison?
it.
Okay. Well, everybody listening, everybody in the chat and the comments, if you have not followed Vada Pinson III's Facebook page, please do that right now. Give him all the support to try to get his father Hall of Fame candidacy in front of the Hall of Fame committee. That's what we're all trying to do. He definitely sold us. We took the deep dive in there, and we're with him. So please show him the support. He posts some incredible stuff about the Reds and his father during that time period. That I mean, I love looking at stuff from his page every day that he posts. So check his page out, give him all the support. And we'll keep you updated on that as we hear some more, and hopefully he can get in there on that ballot at one of these years. Again, right? It's like every 3 years or whatever, but would be pretty dang cool. Yep. So again, love all the discussions that you guys have with us every episode. Appreciate the love, the support. We will see you Thursday night at 9 p.m. for, well, we'll see what happens this week, but we'll be here